your new home with a
What
rate
was
shield
it?
approval.
So
If rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go
senior
down, you
year,
get
our
that
big
new,
final
even
concert
lower rate.
that we had,
Either way,
Yeah.
you win.
we did a
Talk to us
piece
today
called the
at
3
800 or go to
trees.
rocketmortgage.com to take
Uh-huh.
advantage.
And
Here's
it's
another
just,
great reason to
it's a
work with
big,
us.
it's
For
a very
11
simple
years in a
concert
row,
piece
J.D. Power has ranked
with
for the
a
most
narrator
highest
right
innovation
over,
in
and we
customer
did some
satisfaction for
skit
primary
parts to
mortgage
it.
origination.
Okay.
Again, to lock in today's
And
low
so we
mortgage
translated
rate
it into
and get
the
security
3
of our
T-Rexes
exclusive
and
rate
had
shield
3
approval. Call us
students
today at
in
800
inflatable
or
T-Rex
go to
costumes.
rocketmortgage.com.
That's awesome.
My part was to play a knight in a night costume, and when the line "as night fell" was to fall over.
It
It was fun. It was an hour.
It sounds
I
good.
didn't have to play the music.
It sounds good.
Industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendricks.
All right, here we go.
News Talk 93 News Channel. Your breaking news and
Chaos.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. In the past hour or so, Indiana Michigan Power has restored power to 1,000 customers. There are still 20,573 customers without power. Now, this is a result of that tree falling on multiple power lines off of Grape Road. This actually took the power down here. The estimated time for restoration was 4 to 5 hours earlier. Some of the photos, including the ones that I posted on Facebook at facebook.com/Casey the host, was... they weren't the best photos. Those were provided by the Mishawaka police and fire departments. And I know that others have gotten closer and sent out some better photos, because the ones that you see that are the official photos, it doesn't look that bad. But it is. The tree came over and took down several power lines. Some of the power poles were also pulled. So those poles now have to be either taken down or propped up and reinforced. So there's a lot of work that has to be done. The power at the Federated Media studios here just got restored maybe 40 minutes ago. Now, the studios were always, because we're on generators, because we always have to broadcast, the studios were in good shape, but I wasn't going to do the live stream because we had slower than normal internet. But now that the power is back up, we are doing the live stream. We're on youtube.com/Casey the host and twitch.tv/Casey the host if you'd like to watch the live stream. So people are still affected by this. We'll continue to keep you updated. But right now, again, 20,573 customers is the official total on the I&M outage map. That you can go check that out. But they are working on it. It's just going to take some time. So I know some people don't understand what's going on. They're kind of driving through the area. They've been sending us messages going, why are none of the lights working? What's happening? And that's because that tree came down on multiple power lines. So it's taken some time to get that going. It's ugly. Anytime you have a tree coming down on those lines, obviously you've got to cut the power, you've got to route them, you got to stabilize the poles, and it's a whole mess. So it's going to take some time to get that back up and running, but it will be up and running today. So it was about 4 to 5 hour fix, and that was about 2 hours ago. So we are, because it was about 1 o'clock that I got into the studio and everything was off, and we were trying to figure out what we're going to do with the rest of the day. So 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. There is a ton of local news today. And there's a ton of national news tied to a local guy that we will get to today. But first, I wanted to start off with the trial. Did not take very long, ladies and gentlemen. The trial of the woman who hit those kids and killed them at the bus stop. She's found guilty. I mean, this is like one of the quickest trials I think I've seen in a long time. She was found guilty. And again, the woman behind the wheel, when 3 children were hit. Sorry, I'm dealing with pop-up ads here. When 3 children were hit and killed at their bus stop in Rochester, has been found guilty. Alyssa Shepard, 24 years old, was found guilty of 3 felony counts of reckless homicide, a count of criminal recklessness, and passing a school bus causing injury. She faces more than 20 years in prison. Sentencing is set for December 18th. Okay. Levia Stahl, 9, and her 6-year-old twin brothers, Xavier and Mason Engel, were hit and killed as they were getting on their school bus in October of 2018. Fourth child was also injured. The family of the 3 victims pushed hard for a bill that increases penalties for drivers who disregard flashing red lights and stop arms on school buses. That, of course, became state law in July. Residents can now face up to a year in jail and up to a $5,000 fine for passing a school bus with a stop arm out. Okay. Now, again, she tried to say that she didn't realize it was a school bus, and that led to a whole host of speculation early on. And of course, the trial happened very, very quickly. She's been found guilty. Sentencing again is in December. She faces up to 20 years. We don't know if she's actually going to get that. She is very remorseful, and I have no doubt that is genuine. But still, again, we're at a point where these are pretty basic rules, and they are the rules that they are for a reason, and we have to now hold people accountable for that. It's the same thing, in my opinion, anyway. It's the same thing when you have people who leave kids in hot cars. Every single year, it seems like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry you left your kid in your car and your kid died, but slap on the wrist and we move on. I really am so against that. We have to make those penalties very rigid and very stern. Otherwise, people are going to continue to do it. So we'll obviously continue to cover this, but in a couple of months, we'll have the sentencing, and then we'll be able to weigh in on whether or not we felt it was a fair sentence or not. In the meantime, Indiana is also looking at a new fine for drivers. Okay, but this is a little bit different. This involves smoking in your own car. Now, there's a couple of things with this. And this has been a battle, I think, for most of my radio career, as the anti-smoking movement has continued to go forward. The law is forced to intervene when parents fail to realize the harm they are causing to their children. This is truththeory.com, whatever they are. This is one of those acts that perhaps benefits the doer, but has an effect on the surroundings, which can be either good or bad. Smoking falls in the latter category. The danger of secondhand smoke was not considered a threat for decades until the evidence started wafting in. Now, here's the thing. Mayuk Saha over at Truth Theory, which is an anti-smoking advocacy group, what they are not telling you is that the wide breadth of research for secondhand smoke disproved the correlation with secondhand smoke and lung disease or lung cancer. Okay, there is no evidence. If you look at there's 2 studies, they're the largest in the world. They were done, they found no difference in the sample size in the control group, none whatsoever in rates of lung disease and lung cancer. So there is no correlation that has been established, none, between secondhand smoke and lung cancer. But obviously, for many, many years, for a long time, it was denied, and then for many years, that's what everybody said secondhand smoke did. So now, with that said, obviously, being in a car with somebody puffing away on you if you're a kid is not the healthiest thing in the world for you. What we do know is that secondhand smoke can stunt growth and hinder development somewhat, okay? Whether or not it's going to give you lung cancer, again, the research does not have a correlation there, but we do know it does have a negative health effect. So different states have laws that prohibit you from smoking in a vehicle with a child under the age of 6 years old. Now, of course, this comes into a couple of different things. One, we are talking about something where secondhand smoke is not tied to cancer, but is tied to health effects. So it's not healthy for a kid, no doubt about that. But it's also your personal property. So why is it that the government can come in and tell you what to do with illegal activity in your personal property simply because a kid is around? And then why is that different from, say, a studio apartment, right? Obviously, a car is a more confined space. I understand that, but the car has typically got air conditioning or vents and things of that nature, whereas a home doesn't have the venting that an automobile has. It's certainly more sealed up. But it is interesting to see that this is being pushed. Let's see. The latest to join the list is Indiana. The bill has been proposed by State Senators Eddie Melton and Jim Merritt. The senators have brought in legislation that will make it expensive to be caught smoking in a vehicle with children around. The fine will be $1,000 for first-time offenders. It will increase by 10 times for the third offense in the same year. Senator Jim Merritt admits that enforcement will be a bit stiff, but it will help to raise awareness that secondhand smoking poses. And again, two largest research studies on this in the entire world failed to find a correlation with cancer. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because people automatically go to cancer, okay? There is a negative health effect on kids with secondhand smoke. I'm not denying that. There just is no proof that secondhand smoke causes cancer. None. And isn't it interesting that after secondhand smoke and things like that started withering away in our society, that rates of lung disease did not decline? So we have lung cancer rates and lung disease rates that are have remained undeclined in spite of the immense reduction in smoking and secondhand smoke in our society. And then what did we have come along later? A new boogeyman, radon. Radon, all of a sudden. Radon's been around us all this time, but we had no idea it existed, and it causes lung cancer. Oh. And it's where? Oh, it's in your house. Interesting. So was it the radon that was giving people cancer and lung disease, or was it the secondhand smoke? And that's the answer that we don't have. So anyway, there is a bill with Senator Eddie Melton and Jim Merritt that would fine people $1,000 for the first offense, and that will increase 10 times for the third offense in the same year. That's interesting because it's a legal activity inside of your personal property that they are seeking to limit. That's going to be tough. Other states have done it, but it's still going to be tough because Indiana actually has a somewhat reasonable state Supreme Court. You got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news.
Breaking news and weather station.
Weather served by the Prime Table in Niles. 26 years of exceptional food, tremendous service, and great people. Visit Prime Table today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Your home comfort experts, heating specialists, 5-day forecast.
Scattered showers in our forecast today, so you will need your umbrella.
What's up, everybody? Bit of a hectic afternoon here at the MNC studios.
Upwards of 35 to 40 miles per hour. For tonight, you sink down to 46, and then tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a high of 54 degrees. Still a chance for a couple spotty showers. Otherwise, we do see some cooler weather for Tuesday. On Wednesday, we get to 58, mix of sun and clouds in your forecast. Thursday is a little cooler as another cold front moves through. 53, mostly cloudy skies and a couple spotty showers possible. We're down to even near 50 for the daytime high on Friday with a mix of sun and clouds. In the ABC 57 First 40 Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emma Kennedy.
95.3 MNC and Final Phase Electric are officially kicking off the countdown to the 2020 presidential election with the 4th annual noise on Saturday.
All right. Let me get into my website so I can get the daily show prep all up and running for you guys. You see the 3D printed skull bowl out there in the lobby? No. I printed a candy dish and brought it in and put some candy in it in the lobby. I had a UV.
Or on her thing?
No, it's on the table, like in the seating area.
Oh, then no, I did not.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't.
Yeah, so I had printed a UV green one, but then I accidentally stepped on it when I was cleaning out the basement yesterday.
Nice.
So I had to print up a black one. And brought a bunch of candy in for it. Trying to suck up, let them know I'm a team player, so they do me right on the contract negotiations that are ongoing right now. So we'll see how that all goes.
New gene editing tool could potentially treat up to 65,000 diseases.
Sure, can I get your first name, please? All right, Jeff, I'll try to get you on there.
Oh no! The fire in California is near celebrity homes.
Just like it was last year?
Everybody cry for the celebrities.
Last year?
Oh, it's every year. The fires are always, last year was the really big one, and it took out celebrity houses.
One of the YouTubers I follow. he lived in the Northeast about 6 months in his parents' driveway. He lived in the Northeast.
Oh no.
He was still making content though. So that was
Sucks, man. It does. It sucks.
Immediately, you can tell you're talking to a real person on the phone, and after a brief conversation, you can tell that they actually care about what's important to you and what you need to protect it. We all know we need to be insured, but just buying a plan online doesn't always work out when it comes time to make a claim. Take a few minutes and talk to our friends at Mishawaka Family Insurance. Even if you're already covered, things can change.
Yeah.
Make sure you are prepared and may even save you money.
What does Joffrey want?
he wants to ask you a question about vaping.
I'd like to ask you a question.
That's 574-231-1500. When those giant scissors come out for a grand opening ceremony, it's the staff that's in the photo. Behind the scenes of any
Wow, this is taking me way long. Wait. A lot longer than it should be. Plus, I don't get to go to Costco after work, which I was planning on doing. Because I need to get my meat. I've got no meat at home. I'm starving. Okay? I'm starving to death. Literally. But I've got a teacher's conference at 6:30.
Oh, you don't have to.
No, I know, but I try to not miss those.
You're a good parent.
Yeah, I try to be.
Or know your child's doing really well.
Try to be the good dad.
Message and data rates may apply. Please do not text and drive. See purple.com for terms and conditions.
And now for an important announcement. Do you, or does someone you know, sweat the bed? Do you ever wake up feeling like you've been sleeping on a slip and slide? Sweating the bed is a
All right, so now you need to get over to my live dashboard so I can even read what you guys are talking about, because I can't read it on that tiny little screen right there.
There is a cure. It's called Purple. Purple is the only mattress with a scientifically engineered smart comfort grid. This patented technology is designed to let air flow freely so you sleep cool. Side effects of sleeping on Purple include sleeping better, feeling better, and, well, honestly, smelling better. Try the Purple mattress risk-free for 100 nights and never sweat the bed again. And for a limited time, pick a free Purple product.
Wait, so I try it for 100 nights and then I never sweat again. So after those 100 nights, I return it and I go back to my old bed. I still don't sweat the bed anymore? That's what I'm hearing, Casey.
Hey, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to tell you. Should I 3D print the costume? I'm not going to go elaborate. It would be like a mask. Like, should I? Oh, it works all the time. People do it all the time, dude. What do you mean? Don't think it would work?
What costume?
I don't know. Just a mask. There's thousands of masks.
I thought we were talking about the costume that your wife was buying.
Oh, for the kid? No.
I don't think that'll work.
No, that's very specific. She wants the Raptor one. She wants blue, but it's like $80 everywhere because it's blue.
No, yeah, you could do that. That would be easy.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to decide if I want to go through the effort of doing it.
Just do a skull. Simple skull mask.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Something like that.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. So, it's interesting. I just, for giggles, because it's been, several weeks since I've looked at the chart, I went ahead and I looked at the annual rate, not cases, annual rate of new lung cancers and lung disease. And it's slightly going down. It's kind of even, but slightly going down. But if you look at the rate of smoking decline, it's this really steep graph. So they don't keep pace with one another, which seems to suggest that there isn't a correlation. And of course, the government came up with this radon thing. I don't know anything about radon. It's just that I know that the government makes a really big push to tell you that radon gives you lung cancer. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't have any research that says that it doesn't. So I'm inclined to go along with it until I have evidence otherwise. But it is interesting that once they weren't noticing a correlation with secondhand smoke, and the research started coming out, proving the EPA study wrong, and looking at all of the other research papers that were out there, including the largest one ever done in the world, finding that there's no correlation. All of a sudden, radon showed up as an example of something that causes lung cancer that we didn't know about before, but now we do. So it was interesting to see that kind of play out. Jeffrey, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Casey, I have a very quick question.
Okay.
Do you have any idea the people that have gotten sick or dying from vaping? Do we know what they're vaping? And what I'm trying to say is, you can buy vape liquid, but no one has said that this liquid or this is bad. But are they vaping something else they shouldn't? I don't understand this.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I guess somehow you missed it. We've been covering this pretty extensively, and for some reason, only the Australian media seems to be covering this extensively. American media is not. Everybody that has had a positive correlation with what has made them sick was smoking illegal, black market, THC products that were improperly cut with an additive called vitamin E acetate, which when it gets in your lungs, it's an oil, okay? You're supposed to cut this with an oil. Now, if you do it right, it's not really a risk. The problem is you got a bunch of street chemists trying to do this thing, and they don't know what they're doing. So it's like an oil. So I want you to think of the oil that you cook with, right? When it gets real hot, it's all thin and everything's fine, and then when it cools off, it turns white and gummy, right? That's what's happening to their lungs. It's not, and there has been 0 cases of this, even though there's a new lawsuit against Juul from the parents of a kid who died, who admitted, by the way, that he was using THC products. They're just blaming Juul for this. But none of the cases that have been found have been tied to an over-the-counter legal product. None. Unless you're talking about the device that you vape with being modified to accept these THC cartridges, which a lot of kids do at Juul. But Juul itself has not made anybody sick. Now, even the CDC has said over 90% of these cases they can tie to the illegal THC. The other cases they can't tie to anything, but they have not tied them to any over-the-counter. So what you have is you got a bunch of teenagers who don't want to tell mom and dad that they've been smoking dope illegally, and that's why they're sick. And so now what's happening is these parents are filing lawsuits and things like that, trying to blame the vaping companies, but no case has been tied to the legal over-the-counter products that you can buy. They're all connected to the illegal black market THC products that have this excessive amount of vitamin E acetate.
I thank you for clearing this up for me. I drive a truck. I've got a GPS with a dash cam.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is when you come on, the GPS recognizes your voice and goes to voice mode. And I have no idea why it's only you.
That's interesting.
You're the only one on the radio, then it goes to voicemail, and then I have to say, map, please, and then it goes back to the map.
That is interesting. I considered, because for a time there was one of the GPS companies was letting you record all of the GPS commands, and then you could upload the file, and then anybody could download it and upload it. I considered doing that once with my voice, and then not letting anybody turn left, and only having people turn right. So you'd have to go 3 rights to make a left, But yeah, that's interesting.
It's so funny because I'll be going down the road looking at the GPS directions. The truck is loud. I can't hardly hear you at all.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden it goes voice mode after you said something. And then I have to say view map. And of course it listens to me, but your voice, for whatever reason, overcomes my Garmin. It's just hysterical.
That's interesting.
Thank you for clearing me up on this, because I've been very curious about this. What is going on, and what is it they're smoking that is causing these people to get sick?
Well, look, if you're a parent, I get being scared about this. A lot of people don't know anything about vaping, right? Most people don't vape. It doesn't affect their life, so they're okay with restricting it or banning it or what have you, because it doesn't affect them. What they're ignoring is the millions of people whose lives have been saved as a result of it. That's the problem.
Right.
And those people are now being forced back into either patches and gums, which of course benefit Big Pharma. Now, there's two groups that are really battling vaping. Government, who loses tax revenue when you don't smoke, and big pharmaceuticals and big tobacco. Oh, so three, sorry, not two, three. And because Big Pharma, again, Indiana gets money or gives money to Big Pharma to push their smoking cessation program, which is all patches and gum. So Indiana's government is actually in direct competition with vaping, which is why Indiana has been so unfriendly to vaping over the years. Now Michigan is in on that. We know that a lot of the people who push anti-vaping legislation tend to come from tobacco-producing states. So there's a lobby there. And even though big tobacco companies are making vaping devices, they have competition. Whereas with tobacco, they don't have competition. So if you kill the competition now, and then you solidify, somewhat of a monopoly in the future, and then vaping comes back. See, this is a little bit that has to be mentioned out there. Is there's now vaporless or plumeless vaping devices, and they're not commonplace. But one of the things that people would do is even though people are vaping inside, they go, well, that's smoke. It's not smoke, and it's not going to hurt you. So now they started developing devices where you don't have any of that vapor that looks like smoke at all. So you won't be able to tell that somebody's even doing it unless you're being nosy and looking at them. And so as the technology advances, there's going to be ways for people to go ahead and hide their vaping and things like that, because we're treating those people like lepers. But it's purely the illegal THC black market stuff. Nothing has been tied to any of the legal over-the-counter products. Nothing.
It's just like if someone goes to a bathtub, clean the shower with bleach and ammonia, I think I'm correct.
Yeah.
It will knock you the flip out.
Oh, yeah. You can create,
basic chemistry.
Yeah. Basic chemistry. You can create mustard gas. You can create all sorts of stuff, chlorine gas, things like that in your house that can be very dangerous. Absolutely. 100%. If you don't know what you're doing, you can mess up real bad. Totally.
Anyway, thank you for clearing it up for me. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Be safe out there, okay? All right. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
All righty. Here we go. I'm actually on the YouTubes. Oh my gosh, we are talking about candy.
Mishawaka police are advising residents to avoid the intersection of Grape Road and Miscellaneous Avenue as a large tree limb knocked down power lines there. Both north and southbound lanes are currently blocked to traffic, and police report the area will remain closed.
Kelly says patches, gums, and lozenges never helped me. Vaping did. And here's the thing. The research shows that all of those methods are less than half as effective. So vaping is, twice as effective as the next most effective method. What's up, Andrew? How you doing? All right, let me get over to Twitch, so I can't ignore my Twitch peeps.
At some point during all of that, officers fired at the suspect vehicle, hitting him at least once. The suspect was taken to Memorial for treatment, and his condition is currently unknown. Several officers have been treated.
Tell Casey that until marijuana is legalized outright in Indiana, we don't care if every single cigarette smoker gets fined into poverty for smoking in their car. Well, that seems reasonable.
On the right track, just in the wrong direction.
Yeah. And instead of making new laws for the overworked PD to enforce, how about enforcing the laws that are already in place? Well, nah.
$64 million to work with from the program, making Michigan one of 18 states that no longer ban students in prison from receiving financial aid. MNC News Time is 3:35.
All right.
President Trump today discussing his decision to pull U.S. troops from northern Syria, which resulted in attacks by Turkey against American allied Kurds. Those troops would have been wiped out. I don't think it's...
Osceola Dragway got its expansion.
Republicans and Democrats have
Cool.
criticized the president
Yup.
for abandoning the Kurdish forces who helped in the fight against ISIS. Critics say the move could allow a
That is pretty friggin' awesome.
4 major drug companies accused of playing a role in the national opioid crisis, reaching a $260 million agreement in Ohio.
That is pretty friggin' cool, man. Pretty friggin' cool.
Federal trial over the opioid crisis. Now there's President Johnson previously settled, leaving Walgreens as the lone defendant, at least in this case.
So there's a new metal 3D printer that prints A2 and D2 tool steel just like you were CNC machining it. Yeah, guess what my knives are made with. So, because one of my dreams is to have one of my knives with copper handles. So I can print my knife and then print the copper handles on that thing. And it would be done. Come on. I could technically be the world's first 3D printed knife company. Just saying. I could.
Down grain markets to start the new week. This is Who's Your Ag Today's Monday closing farm market review, brought to you by IOM Grain. Raising non-GMO beans for IOM Grain will eliminate basis fluctuations in the cash market. Learn more at iomgrain.com.
Oh man, I loved sugar babies and sugar daddies when I was a kid. Loved them.
The wheat market was the wheat side leader, weighing on the corn market, which went down 3 3/4 on December, 387 1/4. March down 3 1/4, going to 399 1/2. May 406 3/4, off 2 3/4. 3/4 lower on November and January beans. Novi 933 1/4.
That reminds me, I got to post the. I'll post the candy dish here to Facebook.
Off 8 3/4. It was green over in livestock with December live cattle 113.87, up 25. And December lean hogs 67.82, down 12. I'm Andy Eubank. Who's Your Ag Today? Timely, relevant, credible.
Fox Business Report brought to you by Modern Kitchen, creating your dream living spaces so you can redesign, remodel, and relax. Modern Kitchen on McKinley, east of Ash Road in Elkhart.
There, I just posted it on Facebook if you all want to check it out.
The major averages are slightly higher in afternoon trading as investors get in gear for a busy week of earnings results. Amazon, Boeing, and McDonald's are among the companies reporting this week. Its stock continues to fall, with investors selling off and major investment banks downgrading the stock as the plane manufacturer continues to face intense questions from regulators and elected officials about its safety practices and its grounded 737 MAX jets. Shares of Boeing are down close to 4% today. In Canadian retail operator Hudson's Bay, the owner of Saks Fifth Avenue, is being taken private by a group of its shareholders, including its executive chair, Richard Baker, in a move to revive the department store chain. Like other retailers, Hudson's Bay has been struggling as more people shop online. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
So... Okay.
Basement renovations 1 star. He kept asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like,
okay, south then.
What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Like,
Howard Park is looking pretty good. Did you guys see the new pictures of Howard Park? It's coming along. Again, spending a ton of money on it, and there's some questions, but it does look good. I will give them credit.
George Stapler here with B-Window. Have you thought about replacing your windows and doors? Go to bwindow.com to see our free door sale with window purchase.
It's B-Window's Pick One Free sale.
Pick one free?
Yeah, you get a free Anderson or Marvin.
There we go. Twitch finally loaded.
Well, you know, with a minimum purchase of great B-Windows siding or bathroom.
Plus, I'll add in 12 months.
Woo! Damn. He's got the chills.
For a limited time only.
I don't know. I don't think it's that cold right now.
In my opinion.
I'm Sean Haas, Navy veteran, 10-year husband, father, mayor of South Bend. 50 years of one-party rule has left our city with a soaring crime rate, few jobs, broken roads, and failing schools. My opponent wants to continue the same failed policies of Mayor Pete. As mayor, I will fight to restore the safety of our streets, revitalize our schools, and ensure that our city is in a way that we can all prosper. On November 4th,
All right.
let's not have another repeat. Vote for me, Sean Haas for mayor, paid for by the committee to elect Sean Haas for mayor.
Guys, waking up over and over to pee is not okay. But now, you can reduce those nighttime bathroom trips with the ingredients in Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced.
So
We're talking
many
about
local
lesser
stories. Holy
less
moly.
bathroom trips during the day and better bladder emptying. It's like taking 3 prostate supplements in one. can try a
So why
full
not just take
30-day
the
bottle of
prostate?
P3 Advanced. Free. Just pay
That'd
shipping
be
and
bad
handling.
for you. So you
No strings
combine them
attached,
so they can
no
only take
obligation,
one stuff.
Just
no
get the
commitment
damn thing milked and you'll be
This
fine.
is a 30-day
You don't need to
supply,
worry about anything else.
absolutely free. Call 1-800-394-5598.
Find a woman who loves you enough to milk your prostate, or a guy.
Prostate is the best-selling brand in
Just
major
saying.
retailers like Walmart. But for this, no
You want to
strings
live for a long time, gentlemen?
You must call
Milk the
now.
prostate.
Call 1-800-394-5598.
What's funny is how many people are going to Google that now. What is that? What's milking the prostate? Oh my God! Don't Google it at work. Just don't. In case you don't know.
You round up and register. You help family and friends when they ask. But once you do warn, there is an easy way to be more giving. Give blood at the South Bend Medical Foundation. Whether you're a new donor or a donor who decides to donate more often, donate this month and receive a special T-shirt. Gear up in this T-shirt, sharing your role as a donor and a hero. Wear this proudly and share the message about giving. You can be a silent hero for the community. Local hospitals depend on blood donations from the South Bend Medical Foundation to aid in emergency situations and for patients in need. Donating is easy and only takes a few moments. It shows you care about your community. Give more. Help us tackle blood shortages this month. We need you on our team. Make an appointment today at one of our donor centers or mobile drive locations most convenient to you. Call 234 or log on to givebloodnow.com. Help those in our community today by donating blood to save lives. Go to givebloodnow.com.
From the Final Phase Electric Studio.
Here we go.
From the first step to the final phase.
Stymie says, I don't even let anyone wag their finger in my face.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. If you mention me, you get 50% off your range time. Go to secondamendmentarms.net. And let's see, what do we have here? Somebody sent me a text and asked me to update everybody on the Osceola Dragway. I've been following this more as a personal sort of a thing because I love the Osceola Dragway. But there was a proposal to allow them to expand. They've been trying to expand and include some new things, and there are some people who don't like the Osceola Dragway because they hate things that go fast and make pretty noises. And mostly the people who don't like the Osceola Dragway are people who are not very fun to hang out with, and you really don't want to be their friend. You want to divorce them, maybe disown them as your parents or your children because they're just awful, horrible people in general. The Elkhart County Commissioners are weighing a request to rezone the property for a future expansion. This has been a major controversy for residents in that area. Like I said, nobody you actually care about, though. Some have said that the expansion will cause major problems for people that live around the Dragway, but supporters say that the upgrades will boost its appeal and economic impact. The Dragway expansion plan just doesn't fit in the middle of a residential area, said Lyle Fizzle. Well, too bad they were there first. Here's the thing. Most of the people in that area came after the Dragway. Okay? We had this problem in Las Vegas. So we have a pig farm in Vegas. It's famous, actually. It's been on TV many times. So when the casino buffets have food left over, they pack it all up and it gets shipped out to the pig farm where the pigs eat it. Okay? So the pigs provide a community service by consuming all of the waste. And then, of course, it's a pig farm, so you get juicy, luscious bacon and stuff like that out of the back end of the thing. So it's a really great symbiotic relationship. Well, this pig farm, I don't know if you ever smelt a pig farm. Pig farms are horrendously smelly and awful, okay? They stink to high heaven. This pig farm's out in the middle of nowhere. Guess where you get cheap real estate? Out in the middle of nowhere, next to a pig farm. So a bunch of people moved to Las Vegas who can't afford a $500,000 house. There was a period of time where Las Vegas, again, was the fastest growing city for, 20 years in a row. It got to the point where locals could not afford real estate, okay? The average local could not buy a house in Las Vegas. So what was happening is people in Seattle and people in Los Angeles were selling their homes there and then coming to Las Vegas and buying 2 or 3, and they instantly became real estate moguls, right? Which further drove up the price until the economic crash happened. So you had the people who were coming there who wanted to buy real estate, wanted to own property. They were going out in where the pig farm was because they could get it cheap and you could actually afford a house because you couldn't afford a house anywhere else. So they went out by the pig farm and they bought the land. They built the houses that were out there. These developers did it. You know, people buy these houses because like, holy smokes, I can get a nice house relatively cheap. Yeah, it's a bit of a commute, but whatever. You know, I get a house. And then they realized that the pig farm stinks. So then what did they try to do? They tried to shut the pig farm down. They all got together and tried to shut the pig farm down. There's probably still an annual battle that happens there, but they're consistently trying to shut the pig farm down because they don't like the smell of the pig farm. Okay? Shouldn't have bought a damn house next to the pig farm. Same statement goes to everybody out there in the Osceola Dragway who came after the Osceola Dragway. Screw you. Because we don't like the loud noise. Okay, you're dumb for buying a house next to a drag strip. That's your fault, okay? Your fault. Now, if there are people out there predate the Osceola Dragway, I am not talking about them. But if you look at most of the homes around there, there's a lot of brand new houses out there, or newish houses that came after the Dragway. Anyway, let's see. Faisal has lived in the neighborhood across the street from the Dragway for the past 12 years and has been outspoken about his opposition to the rezoning. One of his major concerns is the noise, which he says he has tolerated, but worries that it could be even louder after the expansion. Yep, if all goes well, it will be. That's the point. That's the goal. So anyway, the Dragway is asking to change the spacing from residential homes from to 80 feet down from 1,000 feet. Once their kids playing in the backyard, 80 feet of a racetrack, they're not out there driving Miss Daisy, said Faisal, who's making a bunch of stupid platitude arguments. And he's only been there 12 years. He's only been there 12 years, and he's bitching and moaning about it. So anyway, it was approved. Okay, it was approved today, 2-1. The commission approved the Osceola Dragway's request, which means there's going to be some nice expansions coming. I think they said they're going to do a road course and everything out there too, which is phenomenal because there is a severe lack of road courses in Michiana. Okay, well, there's a severe lack of all courses in Michiana, but a road course would be really nice, and they have the real estate to do it. And I think that obviously brings a different element. There's a lot of people who are not into the straight line speed; they're into the road speed, and this is going to be great. I think they're going to expand some concessions and things like that as well, do some other upgrades and things of that nature. So love the Osceola Dragway. Super stoked that the commission approved this 2-1. I don't need to look up who voted against it. It's not a big deal. I don't really care. They're foolish. But again, you got people who moved in after the Dragway has already been there complaining about the noise. I'm sorry. Shut your mouth. Don't buy a house next to a drag strip. Now, me personally, I would love it. Okay, I would absolutely love it, but I like those noises because, you know, I'm a man and an adult, not like this Faisal person. We got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Wondering about...
Do you ever see the Adult Swim, It's Free Real Estate thing?
I don't think so, no.
Free house! Free house! It's every time you said cheap real estate, I'm like, it's free real estate.
Yeah. So this Faisal guy's been there for 12 years. Do you know when the Dragway opened? 1957.
Can I ask what you're calling about, please?
1957 they've been.
Uh-huh. Can I get your first name, please? All right, Mike, I will try to get you on there.
For tonight, we sink down to 46, and then tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a high of 54 degrees. Still a chance for a couple spotty showers. Otherwise, we do see some cooler weather for Tuesday. On Wednesday, we get up to 58. A mix of sunny clouds in your forecast. Thursday, a little cooler as another cold front moves through. 53. Mostly cloudy skies and a couple spotty showers possible. We're down to even near 50 for the daytime high on Friday with a mix of sun and clouds. In the ABC 57 First 40 Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Kennedy.
VIP tickets to 95.3 MNC's Noise are sold out, but we have one more pair, and you can win them for free. To enter for a chance to win, text VIP to 45364. Message and data rates apply. Meet Fox News and MNC talk host Brian Kilby and townhall.com editor and political analyst Katie Pavlich up close in person at 95.3 MNC's Noise, Saturday, November 2nd at Center 615 in Oakland. Sponsored by Southwest Vision Center at 95.3 MNC, your breaking news and weather station.
Hi, this is Dwayne Miller with Good Faith Management, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast and for a fair price, call me at 574-294.
It's loud. Why did you buy there, dumbass?
I buy houses in any
I didn't think it would be this loud. Okay, you're stupid.
I am not a realtor or associated with any realty company. Investor who buys several houses a month and I want to buy even more. Call me at 574-294-5678. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant will give me the rent houses. A house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs, great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses.
Share to a page you manage.
Call me at 574-294-5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574-294-5678.
Why don't you show up where we got you the real estate?
New truck? Yeah, but why does your truck look so much better than mine? Well, I took mine to the truck headquarters, Z-Bart of South Bend. What did they do? They undercoated it so it wouldn't rust. They put a Rhino spray-on bed liner on it and protected my paint with ceramic Z-Gloss. So it's going to be showroom shiny for 7 years. That can't be it. Then they tinted my windows, put a sweet tonneau cover on it, and even got some lift bars so the wife can get in it too. Where are you going? I'm taking my ride to the truck headquarters, Z-Bart of South Bend.
Your truck should look and function exactly how you want it to. And Z-Bart of South Bend makes it all possible as your truck headquarters. Visit Z-Bart of South Bend or call 574-232-2073.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions. Like
Keeps turning my num locks off.
which let a candidate show
that
they're
was on my
right hire.
computer, though.
And we give
Like,
you
I
this
don't remember
toy
turning
monkey,
it off.
which will bang its cymbals when the right resume
Very
appears. Okay, there is no monkey.
I said there is no monkey!
But skills tests, that's for sure. See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upside on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Welcome back to Amazon. Next question. If Adam can get a chainsaw on one day with Amazon Prime one-day delivery, and Sharon can get a leaf blower,
I hate babies. I hate babies.
will order noise-canceling headphones.
My husband and I dated in the pit of the Osceola drag strip in the 1960s.
Correct. Introducing one-day delivery from Amazon Prime. Order from millions of items.
Lyle is our neighbor. He has a fairly loud 66 Malibu convertible that he drives by our house. I'm against that. LOL. That is funny.
Only for a little while. Now you can add another decision to
That's
that
funny.
list. Moving to
It's, what? I mean, seriously. Like, just stop being stupid, people. Crying out loud.
You'll feel good about your decision.
It's loud.
We guarantee it. Visit Trilogy H.
That's how you know you're having a good time.
To find a community.
But Casey, it's loud. No, you don't understand. It's loud.
I didn't realize it was loud at night.
Website, click on there. We'll just ask 4 photos so we can technically know what we're looking at, and then just a brief paragraph.
We want to help give back to the community, and this is the best way we can do that to help keep people warm.
Visit sunservicesinc.com. Your trusted local.
Where?
Top local stories updated all the time on 953mnc.com. From Newstalk 95.3 Michiana's news channel, your breaking news weather station.
I keep telling myself I'm going to get crybaby sounds and play them routinely when I run into people like this. So the guy Lyle Faisal, somebody sent me a message that says, oh, by the way, Lyle is our neighbor. He has a fairly loud 66 Malibu convertible that he drives by our house, and I'm against that, LOL. So the guy complaining about how loud the drag strip is has a loud car. That's funny. Anyway, Mike, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi there.
Hey, yeah, the Osceola drag strip, I haven't been out there in 30 years, but when we used to go out there, we had a good time and everything else.
Yeah.
And I I hope they do build a road course. It'd be pretty neat because I know I live out here by the tire rack, and they got a road course.
Yeah, and their road course is great over there. And I think they just had their last Cars and Coffee event of the season, I believe. And I love Tire Rack. They're great people over there.
Yeah, and you know, like you were saying, first come, first serve. You know, like who come first in the neighborhood. Yeah. Well, I live over here, and we have the industrial park knocking at our front door all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just have to go along with it and try to be good neighbors, and hopefully they'll be good neighbors too.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want, if you move into an area where you're the newcomer, you know, you want to go along and get along, and you'd prefer that they do the same thing, you know, but hey, look, this is their survival. This is, you know, the Dragway has dealt with a bunch of garbage with the railroad and the EPA and everything else that wasn't their fault here recently. And you know what? There's demand for what they do. They were established in 1957. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. 1957 is more than 12 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Lyle moved in 12 years ago, and he's griping and complaining about something that predates him by decades.
But my point is, he should have known that there's a Dragway across the way, and you're going to have that. So, you know, that's your own fault.
And somebody's texting me and says that he has a loud car anyway. It's like, all right, what? You know, it frustrates me because people buy houses and they buy property and they don't do their due diligence, and then it's somebody else's fault that they didn't do their due diligence, and it really irritates me with that stuff because it happens so commonly.
What irritates me is you live in a neighborhood for a long time and you get new neighbors that start complaining about you. That wait a minute, you're the newcomer,
right?
You got to wait your turn.
That's it.
You know, we used to live when I lived with my mom and dad. We had the one neighbor, he was the first one in there. We considered him the mayor, and his son was the city controller. So they kind of ran the neighborhood, but, you know, and everybody got along.
Yeah, as long as people are reasonable about it. But yeah, you're right. You get these goody two-shoes, they move into an area and they say, I'm going to change everything about it. And okay, yes, you should have bought somewhere else then.
Exactly. And that to me, hey, if you don't like it, then move.
There you go. All right, man, I got to roll. Appreciate the call. All right.
Thank you.
Take care. Somebody said, my husband and I dated in the pit of the Osceola drag strip in the 1960s. Again, more than 12 years ago. It just, like I said, it's the pig farm thing all over again for me. I just, you know, if you don't want to live next to something, that's fine. Don't buy next to it. And if you do buy next to it, you can't expect anybody to give a rip about what you say about what should happen to that place. You know, it's like when you move in next door to a liquor store and then you're upset that riffraff goes in and out of the liquor store late at night. What did you expect? You know, I used to live next to a convenience store, okay? It's never fun when you live next to a convenience store. There's always some bad stuff that happens. Always. But you live next to a convenience store, and guess what? You got that property for a bit cheaper than you would if you were a couple of miles up the road. So you were willing to exchange the savings that you got for some minor inconveniences. That's what you were willing to do. And now all of a sudden, no, we can't have that. God forbid you moved into a drag strip and it's loud and that people race cars out there and stuff. God forbid. There's lots of people around too. Anyway, you got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
WGRC-FM and HD1. Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your top stories right now. Safe passage for U.S. troops. The U.S. defense official telling Fox News.
Yeah, Mike, you're right. People build next to or on a golf course, and they pitch a fit about the golf balls. What the hell do you expect is going to happen? That's another thing that happens a lot in Vegas because there's so many of the master plan communities. And guess what? The golf course master plan communities are some of the nicest communities. But they don't have big walls in the back, and you have golf balls that come into your property. So it's a risk, and you had better be willing to take the risk. You can't complain about it. You bought on a friggin' golf course, for crying out loud. And by the way, going along with what Alex just said, Mitt Romney is now known as Pierre. Okay, so Pierre Romney on the show.
It's a coming to the nuisance clause. So, because if the drag strip's the nuisance, anybody who comes and then complains about it,
yeah,
has no can't
right.
Really
They've got,
do anything about it.
And so what
legally the fences.
Correct. So what this guy is trying to do, he's trying to say that, well, they're changing things now. I tolerated it this last 12 years, but now they're going to make it worse, and therefore it shouldn't count. I should have say now, is what they're trying to do. But you can't move in. You can't move in next to a commercial property and expect there to never be updates and renovations and expansion. It's a commercial property, which just so happens to be his family's plot. You know, he took me on a big tour of the whole thing. I mean, it's actually really amazing, the history that's there.
Likely to trigger a vote to table the resolution, essentially killing the censure efforts. Lisa. Thanks, Jared. Stocks
It's just so friggin' silly.
56 points at the closing bell. America is Fox News.
What a day, what a day, what a day, what a day.
This is Michiana's breaking news.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people have pseudo Twitters. I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see all the Twitter videos that I watch and post. On account of me being banned and all. I would not doubt if Trump had another account. I honestly wouldn't.
The House Armed Services Committee Chairman announced the launch of the task force. Chairman Adam Smith saying that banks have been focused on the national security issues to find the next generation since he entered Congress. He said the constructive solutions banks have brought forward are examples of the type of fresh thinking that will make the task force a success. Two Michigan representatives, Alyssa Slotkin and Paul Mitchell, will also serve on the task force.
That's 95.3 MNC's Tommy Lee reporting. And in an appeal by former Benton Harbor School Superintendent Leonard Seawood has fallen short. He was convicted on charges that
Dooby-dooby-doo. Ron White's coming to town in February. I'm going to be at the Learner.
South 11th Street is done. That means the smooth ride
Hey.
to the prime table in
I don't know, we're
Stop by
recording
today for your favorite breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
I know that guy. He's a dick. Total dick.
Specialist first warning forecast.
Dooby-dooby-doo. Did you see that Bridget the Midget is facing 15 years for breaking in and stabbing her boyfriend? She's an adult film star. She's a little person adult film star. So this like 3 foot tall lady broke into her boyfriend's home and stabbed him.
What was her reasoning for stabbing him?
I don't know. I didn't read the article. I just saw the headline.
What's the point
I was like,
of
what?
telling me?
Because it
Can't give me details.
I'm just. It's got to be horrifying to see something that's like 3 foot tall coming at you with a knife, man. Let's see. She was arrested in Las Vegas for allegedly stabbing her boyfriend in the leg with a butter knife. Holy crap!
Good for her. But she got a butter knife into somebody's leg.
I mean, yeah. I mean, she's not only little, but she's 39 years old. She was charged with burglary while in possession of a deadly weapon. She faces 2 to 15 years. In fact, she broke skin with it. Yeah, I mean, that is impressive.
You're like, well, it's a butter knife. Like, yeah, but she punctured the skin with it and was able to injure him. So that I would call.
She also faces 5 years for battery with use of a deadly weapon constituting domestic violence and 6 years for assault with a deadly weapon. Dude.
Hi, I'm Jay Bonner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. I've got great news. Mortgage interest rates have dropped. So if
In a video obtained by TMZ, the adult film star is heard yelling from outside the building after another woman reportedly picked her up and threw her out.
low rate stays high.
I'm going to hell.
Either way, you win.
Come on. I'm just quoting the TMZ headline, okay? Oh, jeez. Oh, Lord. She's 3'9", so she's a little bit taller than I thought.
Well, not a touch.
She admitted it, said it's my fault. I did it all. I should go to jail. She calmed down after she drew blood. She got picked up and tossed out of the house.
I don't think I'm allowed to talk about that story, though, can I? I mean,
I don't.
It's so funny.
It's comical.
What do you think? John's out of town for the whole week. He's in Iowa.
Yeah.
What do you think? Should I tell everybody about this, or should I just post about it on Facebook and tell everybody to read it? Joe gets to make the decision here, so I'm absolved of responsibility.
Do it a little bit classier than you were doing it on the live stream.
It's not possible, dude. It's not.
Do your best.
Okay, but can I say her name, because that's her stage name, and I'm calling her by her stage name. I'm not using the term.
Yes.
Okay. There is an adult film star. Her stage name. This is not me saying it. This is her stage name. Her stage name is Bridget the Midget. Okay? She is facing 15 years for breaking into her boyfriend's house and stabbing him. Now, her real name is Cheryl Murphy. She's 3'9". She broke into her boyfriend's house and stabbed him in the leg in Las Vegas with a butter knife. Okay? A butter knife. But, okay. Now, she's facing a lot of time because there's domestic violence, there's use of a deadly weapon, burglary, there's a whole bunch. So she's facing 2 to 15 years for just the burglary while in possession of a deadly weapon charge. But she's also facing 5 years for battery with use of a deadly weapon constituting domestic violence and 6 years for assault with a deadly weapon. She's going to jail. All right. She's going to jail. Now, here's the thing. Okay. She, this is according to TMZ. So I'm hoping I had a good enough laugh that I don't crack up anymore. According to TMZ, the adult film star is heard yelling from outside of the building. This is in a video. I did not watch the video because I would lose myself for the rest of the show. She was heard yelling from outside of the building after another woman reportedly, I'm so going to hell. Reportedly,
the woman picked her up and threw her out. Picked her up and threw her out. Do we need to cut the break? Do we need to cut the break?
Whoever wrote that for the TMZ has been waiting their entire career to write a headline like this. Oh, jeez. Anyway, later in the video, she appears to show the other woman emerge from the door and refer to, quote, "my boyfriend. There's blood everywhere. Please call the cops." She yells as a group of men respond. "You are the cops, thank God," she says before letting them inside. Murphy, who is 3'9", is then seen walking through the parking lot with a law enforcement officer and reportedly said, "Yeah, I did it. I did stab him. It's my fault. I should go to jail." That is a great story, ladies and gentlemen. I just... Gosh. Okay, we got to pivot to something awful.
I honestly don't know what's funnier, the story or you not being able to read the headline.
Okay, here's some context, okay? First of all, I'm from Las Vegas, so obviously the activity of midget tossing was something that was very prevalent for a period of time. But I used to work with a little person who hated being called a little person. Hated it. You call him a dwarf or you call him a midget. That was what he said you called him. He didn't like he wasn't very politically correct. Dude was awesome. Absolutely hysterical. We loved working with him. An amazing guy. So just understand that my laughter comes from a point of context, history, and respect. But holy smokes, whoever wrote that article is waiting for, I mean, that's
a headline.
It's astounding. Think of all the headlines that you can write about that. Oh, I got tears coming. I haven't laughed that hard, ladies and gentlemen, since Bin Laden died. Anyway. All right, now to something more serious, okay? The mother of a 14-year-old boy who attempted to commit a mass murder at his school in 2018 has been charged with several felonies for her failure to treat his mental illness and prevent him from getting access to guns, according to WXIN-TV. This is in Richmond, Indiana, folks. This is a somewhat localish story. Mary York of Richmond, Indiana, faces 5 counts of neglect of a dependent, 1 count of dangerous control of a child, and 1 misdemeanor count of criminal recklessness. Her son committed suicide at his school after a shootout with police in December of 2018. Of course, we covered that. Officers were able to beat the child to the scene because York called 911. The boy had broken into a gun safe in the home, taken York's boyfriend hostage at gunpoint, and forced him to drive to the school. The boy arrived at the school, which was on lockdown when he got there, and shot through a glass door before being stopped by police and shooting himself. Of course, remember, we covered this extensively when it happened. York's son had been diagnosed with depression and during the course of his treatment sessions had expressed both suicidal and homicidal thoughts and intentions. His mother pulled him from the treatment program after 10 days because she said insurance would not cover it and she couldn't afford it. Now, I mean, there's so much to this case. For the record, I don't think she's going to get convicted on all of these counts. She might get convicted on the access to guns, but even then might be tenuous. So York also did not make him take his medication because the child said that it made him feel weird. Now, if you're a parent, though, and your depressed kid who has expressed suicidal and homicidal thoughts is telling you the medication makes him feel weirder, as a parent, maybe you should yes, Joe, you're right. You should contact the professionals and let them know. But as a parent, can you make an executive decision? I don't want to keep giving my kid this stuff. It's going to make it worse. Because psychotropics do make kids go off the rails.
I get where she's coming from, but I also think that she should have been like, hey, doc, can we do a different regimen here?
Yeah, I agree. And maybe she did, and we don't have all of those details yet. She's also the one that contacted authorities and prevented the shooting. Okay, so that also has to be factored into all of this. And we praised her at the time of the story that, when it happened, she was able to notify authorities and prevent a mass shooting. York claims that she did not know that her son had homicidal intentions and that she didn't know about his mental illness diagnosis, which is also possible if he's in treatment, he's in counseling sessions and things of that nature, and there could be the doctor-patient confidentiality thing. I don't know all the legal parameters of all of this, okay? But she's claiming that she wasn't aware of the homicidal stuff, which is plausible, okay? Records show that she was not only informed of those things, but she also would have been present at some of the sessions to hear about them directly, but we don't know the details of those records, so that could be the medical staff saying, no, we informed her, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she was specifically told, and it doesn't mean that she was at one of the sessions where this came up, okay? Now, again, if the evidence is strong enough against her, then yeah, she's in trouble, and that's why she's been charged. So I would assume that the evidence is actually fairly strong. The charges are based on allegations that she didn't provide her son adequate treatment for his mental health issues, which could stem from her not allowing him to take his medication, pulling him from treatment, but you can't penalize somebody from not doing treatment that they can't afford. That's a very significant reality. One of the things that has been discussed now for, gosh, I have been in this business for 14, 15 years, something like that. And the fact that insurance doesn't cover mental health in many circumstances is routinely something that comes up. And we are in a society where mental health is continuing to be more and more of an issue. Okay. So if she doesn't have the money to pay for it, she doesn't have the money to pay for it. But the medication, that could be an issue here. All right. She did nothing to address reported bullying that appeared to be fueling his homicidal desires. She did not remove the guns, which belonged to her boyfriend, from the home. She doesn't have to remove the guns. That's not her responsibility to remove the guns. And despite his apparently unstable condition, he was sometimes left home alone. Okay. Again, there's a lot here that they are really stretching. And I don't think she's going to get convicted on. There's some stuff there where she could be in trouble. Now, it's likely not going to be the extensive sentence that, she faces now, but they could probably get her on a couple of things. But yeah, some of this stuff is a really big stretch. And it's also the state of Indiana too, where you're going to have these, these rights. I forget, did it say that he broke into?
It did say he broke into.
We don't know exactly what that means. Yeah, I just want to make sure
whether or not he had, we don't know what that means. Whether or not he had the code, and he didn't tell anyone, or he just broke in physically into the safe.
And they're trying to they're trying to charge her with not removing the firearms, but she doesn't have to remove the firearms.
She kept them in a safe,
and she had them in a safe. So he broke into the safe. Now, again, I don't know what kind of safe that is, but some safes are like my grandpa always had a shotgun safe. It was just glass in front. You break the glass, you got the shotgun.
More of a case than a safe.
Exactly. It's a display case, but it's locked. That sort of thing. But I don't know what they had. Okay. But it's not like they were irresponsible in how they had the firearms in the home. They were locked away. Yeah, they were locked away according to reports that we had, and he broke into them. And again, if you are dedicated enough, you can break into anything. And now, again, there's an accusation that she didn't do anything about the bullying. Okay, but does that mean that schools are responsible when one of these kids snaps? Because how many stories have we done where the school didn't do anything about the bullying? And they always say that it's not the school's responsibility, so how can it be the parents' responsibility? There's so much here, but ultimately I don't think that she's going to get convicted of all of this stuff because a lot of it is a huge stretch. Probably shouldn't be facing some of those charges. There's some, I think, on the treatment angle that might be applicable here, and we'll have to see how that all pans out. We don't have all of the evidence yet. Obviously, we're just reporting on the story, but because this is in Indiana, it impacts state law. So we'll be talking about this, I think, going forward. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Basic work street first. When it comes,
that was a good laugh.
It's patient confidentiality with a minor, which is a whole
right. And again, it's a whole different ball game, and we don't have details on what specifically she was told, but if I'm assuming that if they're charging her with that and the doctors are saying no, she was notified, then that's where a lot of this is stemming from.
It's a lot. Treatment is not.
No, it is not.
Insurance is hard to work with, and good treatment. A lot of places are on waiting lists.
So,
unless you have a referral, it's really hard to get into good treatment.
Well, and I mean, look, my wife goes and sees somebody, right? And a lot of people believe that everybody should see somebody. So it's $60 a session, and that's cheap.
Yeah,
that's really cheap. But dude, that's $240 a month, man. That's a car payment. So,
and then
that's actually more than my motorcycle payment.
Yeah, it ranges anywhere from that to hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, 60 is when she told me it was only 60. I was like, wow, that's really affordable. But yeah, and I think that's a special rate because of the referral through my doctor with my DPC care. So it's like wholesale.
It's a whole.
Well, I hope that my wife's teacher doesn't listen to my show as I go in the parent-teacher conference tonight and just had that laugh. Oh boy.
Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
We've all been there before. Equipment malfunction can wreck your plans and shut down your office or facility. Let's be blunt. You don't have time for downtime.
Oh my god, dude. That is the best. Sorry, that's the best.
Let us help you from the start. Upgrade or repair your current electrical systems, or get ahead of the game with a professional assessment that grows into a full.
Have you ever heard Bernie Mac's bit on midgets?
No.
Bernie Mac is, first of all, he's legendary, but he had a whole bit on calling them little people versus midgets. It was his comedy gold. Comedy gold.
One call does it all. 574-522-4444. Plant wiring, service.
I wish I could remember that dude's name that we worked with. He also had a bit of a drinking problem.
Oh.
And he was very entertaining at parties. He was an angry drunk, though. So he would run around and he would hit you with his cane.
How much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours?
All of the stereotypes of Vegas people are true. They're all true.
Pockets, not the government's. Remember, you still might owe taxes on your money. And how about the tax efficiency? Are you overpaying or are you keeping every dollar you're entitled to? Look, I know it's confusing, it's complicated, and it definitely isn't fun.
Head-on collision, County Road 6 and County Road 10. Great.
Make sure you aren't paying more in taxes than your fair share. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. And
Casey, is it my imagination or are the commercial breaks more frequent and longer and your airtime is less? Well, they're not more frequent. We have the same commercial breaks. But they are longer because I'm popular.
Howard Bailey Financial doesn't offer legal or tax advice. Please consult the appropriate professional regarding your.
Holy, I'm surprised I don't have any hate mail via text message right now. I have people cracking jokes about the butter knife. Yeah.
5678. I can pay cash.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and in any location.
Where at?
I am not a realtor or associated with any realty company. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy even more. Call me.
Okay. 3 vehicles westbound. All right, I will get that out there as soon as I can.
Divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant with
So County Road 610 is a 3-vehicle collision affecting westbound.
Great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574.
All right, say that again. I'm sorry. I was running through a bunch of jokes in my head. Yes.
County Road 6 and 10 is westbound.
Westbound?
Okay. 3 vehicles.
All right. You got it.
One of my friends just said thank you for that beautiful moment of you losing it.
And make your drive
Who listens?
Who said that?
One of my friends who listens.
I'm going to lose it the rest of the show, man. Good God. Anita on the live stream seems to like it. Made her smile.
In the App Store and on Google Play. And visit Stay-at-home moms share what husbands should be doing.
The best.
Diapers. Feeding the baby. Oh no.
My boss is in Iowa. I don't have to worry about it.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Dude, you're really insensitive. Yes, you're insensitive. I haven't done anything wrong, okay? She chose her stage name, but we're talking about mass shootings. You got to play that song. Come on. Stop, dude. Stop. It's not okay. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. Shame on you. We have reports of a head-on collision. This is involving, I think they said 3 vehicles, correct? Westbound? What's that?
Caller said 3 vehicles, and it's affecting westbound traffic.
Okay, this is at County Road 6 in County Road 10. So head-on collision there at the intersection, westbound. It's affecting traffic, so avoid that if you can. Hope everybody is okay. 574-25-95-95-3. Back to the phone lines we go. Roy, welcome to the program.
Hey, Casey, I love your show. You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
So, hey, I was calling about the mental health issue with that young man. I'm a mental health professional, and I work with special needs kids in a school setting.
Okay.
And there's a lot of moving parts to this situation. I agree with you. I really honestly don't think that the mom's going to be convicted or face charges. I think that a lot of this stuff's probably going to be dropped.
Okay.
When it comes to like the mom saying, "Oh, the medications," her son reported it feeling weird, etc. Whether a person has insurance or if they're on Medicaid, and this is a federal thing. Medicaid is administered by the state, but
right.
It's pretty much a federal program, block granted to state.
Correct.
There's a formulary, and that's all there is to it. So if your medication, especially psychotropics, if they're not working for you, and you tell your doctor, "Hey, this Haldol is not working for my kid," or "This Zyprexa is not working for my kid," the doctor's hands may be tied because the formulary states this is the medication and this is what I can give you. I can't give you anything else.
Uh-huh.
And so this goes back as much on the pharmacy company that creates that formulary, or the government agency that creates that formulary for the medication for psychotropic meth.
Okay.
In regards to the treatment, she said she couldn't afford the treatment. That's the issue that I'm curious about. I've been watching the story. I haven't been following it very closely, but if it was a community mental health agency, the Community Mental Health Act of 1963 mandates that every county has a mental health agency that provides services and care based on your ability to pay. That's a law. That's a federal law.
Okay.
So if this was a community mental health agency, they would have to provide treatment pretty much based on what she can pay for. The gray area of this is if they said he needs to go to an inpatient hospital, he needs to go to a residential center, then she can say, "Yes, I cannot afford the treatment, and I need him to get a less restrictive type of treatment." So that's the gray area that I'm kind of stuck on with the story. I haven't been following it as closely as I probably should, especially being a social worker.
Yeah, I didn't know that she was even facing any charges until this weekend. So, I mean, this is, I remember doing the story. I remember praising her for contacting authorities to prevent the mass shooting. I remember all of that. I didn't realize that they were considering charging her with a crime now. Now, with that payment thing, is that based on income, or can she go through like her bills list and they go, "All right, well, you can afford $30," or is it one of those things where if you make over a certain amount, you don't qualify for anything?
No, that's based on that. That's based on everything. So let's, if she was completely impoverished, right? If she was at poverty level, that would be what it is. But it's also like if she was, say, middle class and she had a mortgage and she had a car payment kind of stuff, they do take that stuff into account.
Okay. But
that's when each agency has some wiggle room with that.
Mm-hmm.
But most agencies I've worked for in the mental health area take all of that into account before they make any consideration for pay.
Okay. Now, what if she didn't? What if she didn't tell the doctors that the medicine was making him feel weird?
If she didn't tell the doctor that, then he can't really make any kind of a change.
Right.
It's kind of like if you have, let's say, from a medical standpoint, let's say you have chronic high blood pressure, and the medication, you're not taking your medication because it's making you feel nauseated, and you don't tell the doctor that he's going to continue to prescribe the medication.
Sure.
I would have thought, though, that the child would have told the doctor or the therapist or something like that. And if the therapist too is my responsibility as a social worker, like if the student tells me, "Hey, Roy, I'm going to come to school tomorrow. I'm going to go to my brother's school tomorrow and do this," I'm obliged by law to contact not just the parents, but law enforcement and that school.
Yeah, you've got to make sure everybody knows. So if he did have homicidal thoughts, then she should have been notified.
Yes, she should have been notified.
So that's where we could potentially have something on her, but I think you're bringing up good points too. Just because instinctively, I was like, some of these charges don't seem like they're going to stick, but you would assume with the homicidal thoughts that they would have contacted law enforcement, like you said too, right?
Yeah, yeah. If it's the protocol is like if a student tells me they're suicidal, I do a mental status exam, and I don't verify whether or not they're actually going to commit the action. What I do is I check their mental status to see how how they're responding. Then I inform the parent, and then I advise the parent. Especially working in a school, I have no admitting privileges, so I can't say, okay, you need to go to this hospital and be admitted. But when I worked in mental health, I would go and I would tell the parents, your child needs this. This is the form of treatment I recommend. They should go inpatient or what have you. And if the parents said no, they were not going to do that, then the next step was contacting Child Protective Services and going to the family division of the court and testifying. This is what the child told me. This is my recommendation. And then the judge usually ordered an emergency 72-hour hold to monitor the student, the child.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're homicidal, I call the parents, I call the police, I call the person they're targeting. When they target somebody, if a student said, I'm going to go to my ex-girlfriend's house and do this, then their confidentiality goes out the window. It doesn't exist because I have a moral and legal obligation to protect the target. And the way I do that is obviously I inform the police and then I inform the family.
Okay. So does it seem like we're missing something on the mental health professionals angle here with the information that's been given? Because it seems like everything's on the mom now, but what if they didn't do any of these things? Or what if they did, and then, of course, the authorities didn't do anything?
Right, and that's where, and I can't speak for the agency because obviously I don't work there, but that's why I make sure my documentation is tight. When I was in graduate school and when I was studying for my licensure, there was a statement was CYA, so you don't have to CYA.
Yeah.
Cover your behind, so you don't have to call your attorney.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes makes perfect sense. Well, I mean, and of course, you want to prevent something like this from happening, and I think that this is going to have to come up in the trial too. She immediately notified authorities of what was going on the moment she realized it was going on. And
that's why I was with you. I was praising the mom for doing that because we have so many out of touch parents.
Yeah, how many times have we seen this? I mean, we had one parent, for crying out loud, they beat him up, stole their gun, they didn't contact anybody. And then they ended up going to a school and shooting up a bunch of kids. So it's, she did the right thing there. And I don't know. It seems like she's in a tough spot, but we'll have to see what the details are. Because I think we're missing, like you were saying, Roy, I think we're just missing a whole lot here, especially from the mental health professional side of things. Right. And whether or not law enforcement was notified. How many times we've done these stories where law enforcement didn't do anything when they were notified? So, there's a whole other element here that we have to examine. Yeah, way too many times. And it'll be interesting. I think a telltale sign was if the mental health agency says, we're sorry, that's privileged information. Well, the child's dead. So that privileged information is gone. It goes out the window. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hey, I appreciate the expert's opinion on this, man. Thank you so much. Hey, thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you later. You bet. Take care. You got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, what a day, what a day, what a day. Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry. Okay. So I was unable to go to the chili cook-off at Elkhart Indian over the weekend. My wife had a photo shoot. Kids kind of got sick, and it just, I don't know, just wasn't a good time. I really wanted to. Although I did have chili yesterday. I made chili in the Instapot yesterday, so we made up for it. But I wish I had gone. I really do.
The University of Notre Dame is at the top of Indiana's list, boasting top rankings in numerous different categories. The study from Wallet Hub utilized a couple of key measures.
Michelle says mental health professional must be held accountable. True. Very, very true.
Also on the list was Goshen College, coming in at 7th overall. The university's main campus came in at 2nd. IU Bloomington was
Yeah, we have an Instapot. We love it. It's our second pressure cooker. I don't know what the other one was that we had. It worked. It's just that we didn't have a good seal on the lid, so it became more of a frustrating thing to get it to actually work and build up pressure. But my wife got a new Instapot a couple months ago. Just, yeah, we love it. Super easy. We made chili in 35 minutes. So. I thought I already liked the Osceola Dragway. Apparently I didn't. That seems weird. I swear I liked it as my show, but apparently not. Because I liked one of their posts and then they invited me. Huh? I don't know, maybe. God, my throat is jacked now.
The president talking to reporters after a cabinet meeting at the White House. Stocks showing modest gains today despite a slump in Boeing stock. The S&P 21 higher, the Nasdaq gaining 73. America is listening to Fox News.
Great news! The road construction on South 11th Street is done. That means a smooth ride to the prime table in Niles. Stop by today for your favorite breakfast, lunch, or dinner choices.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialists, first warning forecast.
Not as windy, but still breezy into Tuesday. Partly cloudy to mostly clear overnight. Will settle into mid-40s to start the day tomorrow. Mostly cloudy and gray with a chance of showers, a high of 54, and wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Coombs.
What if this was a loved one?
All right. Folks, I'm halfway through the show already. I think Instapot has a whole line, Sam. I saw a commercial for them yesterday, and they had like a bunch of different ones that I never saw before. I knew that they had like the two sizes, but they have a whole line apparently of stuff.
Chances are you can remember your best decisions.
I know that, I don't know if you have a Costco membership, Frank, but Costco has, I was in there last week and they had pallets of Instapots. Obviously, they're getting ready for the holidays, and Instapot, I think, is going to be a hot seller, but they had pallets of them. So, Walmart has them too, but I recommend it. It's not that difficult to use, and it's fine. I told my, brand new watch, I told my kid, who was jacking with my watch the other day, I was like, protect the glass, and she scratched my freaking glass already. Look at that crap. Parents do. Joe probably doesn't. Parents believe it.
No, I believe it. If you're gonna have 4 children.
Well, that's true. You got a bunch of kids in there. Oh, I never heard of a Yeti.
I've heard of their. I've heard of Yeti Light.
Yeah, not the coolers. Yeah. She says YEDIE.
Oh. I've heard of Instapots because my wife's not my wife's.
Wow. You jump ahead there a little bit? How are things going there? Huh? Does she know? Does she know you're engaged or married or whatever?
No, my girlfriend's mother and her boyfriend have an Instapot.
Yeah. No, it's because, crock-pots are great, but the Instapot will do what a crock-pot does in, minutes.
My mom really likes the crock-pot. My mom uses it a lot.
Yeah. No, and I did crock-pots too. And there's something about just walking into the house and smelling that, all day. But the Instapot, so we didn't have any ground beef, so I took some pork loin chops that we had, and I diced them up and threw them in there. And I mean, it cooked everything, in 35 minutes. So.
Saw a video of this dude who was guy kept emailing him like, hey, will you endorse our product? Endorse our product as a pressure cooker. He doesn't do anything like that. Mm-hmm. He's like, you know what? Let's see what happens. So he bought it and he made it. He rigged it so where the top blew off. And he did a really good editing trick where he walked away and then blew up. It was this
That's funny.
whole thing, and he sent an email with the video saying, "Hey, your product's defective. What the hell?" This whole thing.
Interesting. Yeti coolers also had that big rift with the NRA too, so some people are not buying Yeti coolers right now. They're buying the other brand that is out there competing. It was one specific Walmart that was clearing out the Instapots, and you couldn't get that deal at any of the other Walmarts. So it's frustrating because Walmart does that crap. Like I just bought some mirror hanging things for doors. So it's like the hooks that go over, and you just screw them into the mirror, and it'll hang the mirror from your door. And the website said like 30 cents or something. And they were like $1.88. And I'm like, oh, the website says, oh yeah, that's at the Walmart down the road. Like, damn it. Very specific websites.
Selection and hottest colors of the seasons. Don't worry about putting it all together for the party tonight. At Judy's, you can work with a specially trained associate or Judy Girl to provide a personal color and style analysis. They won't let you leave the store with something that's just right for you and your Judy's So Long Summer Sale, 50% to 80% off spring, summer, and more. Now through September 7th at Laporte, Granger, and Valparaiso.
Here we go. Don't know why you said it like that. Hey, picnic a basket.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. So according to Harvard University, the European Journal of Pain study showed that using CBD, applying it to the skin, helps lower pain and inflammation due to arthritis and other ailments. Isn't that interesting? That's why people are using CBD as a topical ointment. And if you're going to do that, you might as well get the Naturals CBD lotion, which you can get from allnaturalcbd.org, which is the only brand that I endorse. We recently went through, on the live stream during a commercial break last week, we went through all of the CBD products at a popular chain drugstore. They were all 2 to 3 times as expensive. Most of them had a fraction of the amount of CBD in them as natural CBD lotion has. And one of them, who had the same amount of CBD, was a quarter the size, but twice as expensive. Actually, more than twice as expensive. So here's what you get with natural CBD lotion. You get all naturally occurring full spectrum CBD. And if you're going to go with CBD, you want full spectrum, not isolate. Okay. Isolate is the cheap version of it. Okay. And even though isolate, sometimes they charge more, full spectrum is what you want. Okay. Full spectrum CBD is what you want. And that's what you get with natural CBD lotion. You get a lotion that soothes, moisturizes the skin while dermally distributing the CBD for pain and inflammation. You also get a 120 milliliter 4-ounce bottle. Okay. You can get 2 different strengths, 250 milligrams or 500 milligrams of CBD. And they are about half the price or less than the competitors. So you get more CBD, you get full spectrum CBD, and you pay less for it, and it's lotion to help moisturize your skin as well. Folks, there isn't a better product on the market if you're looking for a CBD ointment to put on your muscles and your aches and your pains. I've already told you how it's helped us several times with minor aches and pains. If you're an athlete or you go to the gym on a regular basis, this is going to be a godsend to you. Go to allnaturalcbd.org, okay? Use coupon code KC10, CASEY 10 to save 10%. And if you don't want to get it on the website, you don't want to wait for delivery, you want to get it now, go to any local eSigWorks location. The coupon code does work at eSigWorks, okay? If you had a problem with that in the past, I'm told that has been addressed and fixed. This is grown, harvested, produced, tested right here in the United States of America. Allnaturalcbd.org, coupon code KC10. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. I'm not sure if that accident on County Road 6 and County Road 10 is still affecting things, my assumption is that it is. That was westbound. It was a head-on collision, involved 3 vehicles, was blocking that intersection there, mostly affecting westbound. You want to avoid that if you can. But if you have any updates on that, please let me know. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. Somebody asked me, said, Casey, is it just me, or are the commercial breaks coming more frequently and getting longer? All right, well, here's the deal. I'm really popular. I'm sorry to be tooting my own horn. I don't want to sound like an egomaniac. This is one of the most listened to radio programs in all of Michiana. And it's massive, okay? The listenership that we have is huge. So people want to advertise on the station, particularly in my show. I am forever grateful for that. And so, yes, you have noticed that our commercial structure has been sold out, actually. Many of the commercial breaks have been sold out. The last half hour of the program in particular has been a little weird. And that's because we added the O'Reilly minute, which is 10 minutes of O'Reilly update. There we go. And so what that has done is we had this sold out commercial structure, and then we took 10 minutes of the program away. And so things get squished a little bit. And so we're moving things around and trying to get it to where we have better segments and things like that. So it's going to take some time for us to find our way in that last half hour of the program. I apologize if it seems really quick sometimes, because sometimes it is. But that's because, again, we have everybody advertising. We added 3 new advertisers to my show alone for endorsements and sponsorships. We're extremely popular and something I'm very proud of. This station puts out a good product from the moment midnight hits to the moment midnight hits again. So for 24 hours, we put together a really good product. And I think my show in particular is pretty darn awesome because I'm biased. But also, yeah, a lot of people listen to us. So yes, we do sell structures. Now, with that said, if you've got a business or a product that you want to advertise, yeah, now's the time to do that because we're coming into the holiday season. And if you think that we're booked now, wait till the holidays get here. So if you're looking to push something for the holidays, definitely contact our sales team and we'll get you on the air as fast as we can. So that way you are able to maximize your placement heading into the holidays. So I apologize about that last half hour. It's something that we are adjusting and working through. And as the commercial structure and everything kind of moves into the next quarter and all that stuff, it'll be much better. But we do apologize about that. But yes, the commercial breaks have been longer because we are selling a lot of ads because we're super popular. So I'm sorry if it causes any inconvenience, but here's the deal. You don't pay for the show. And if you did pay for the show, we wouldn't have to have those commercials. So it's free programming. I have to make money. Joe's got to make money. The engineers, everybody has to make money here. And talk radio is the most expensive format to put on the air by far. Doesn't cost a lot of money to do a music format. Costs a ton of money to do a talk format. And we have a lot more people to work for us. They make more money in general. We have more people that work in day parts than everybody else. So yeah, it's a bit of a big deal. And we're very appreciative of our audience. I want you to always understand that. We wouldn't be this successful without all of you. And we haven't forgotten that. Okay. So again, apologize if there's been an inconvenience on some of the stuff in that last half hour, but we're working through it. We'll get it nailed down. We'll get better at it, and we will continue to improve. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
You damn right, Perbaco. You know, it sounds good.
Really good pizza.
Perbaco sounds really freaking good right now.
What do you think their delivery?
The what?
Delivery radius?
You know what? Let's find out. Let's find out because they might use like Grubhub or something. In which case, it really wouldn't matter, right?
Really far out of it.
Well, let's find out. Hold on.
Postmates has a higher delivery.
Are they closed on Monday?
Almost.
Perbaco?
I would imagine they would be. Monday's one of the more popular days.
Yeah, well, some restaurants close on Monday. They open on Sunday, close on Monday. I want to advertise.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
first warning neighborhood weather center forecast is on 95.3 MNC. Plus, you can plan ahead with the 5
Yeah, they're closed on Monday.
16 and 46 weekday mornings during Michiana's morning news and on the drive home with Casey Hendrickson. As always, when severe weather threatens, count on us for expanded weather coverage until the storm
I
passes through.
don't know, man.
Michiana's news channel. Your breaking
I do not know. Casey uses it. I do not use it. So what's your question? I'll just ask him real quick.
With the holidays coming up,
I'm intently looking at him.
look, it's frustrating, isn't it?
If the CBD stuff will make you sleepy.
It does help some people with insomnia. I have not used it for that, but it's known to have a calming effect that helps people go to sleep.
It
Yes.
has been known to help people with insomnia, to help them calm down and settle down, and a lot easier to sleep.
And they have a lavender, so that helps.
There's
too.
a lavender scent that'll also help.
But I haven't used it for that purpose. I don't know how effective it is.
And there's a lavender scent that'll help. That's also been known to help. Okay. So it's been known. It has been known to help with that.
0% financing to qualify. Look good for your holiday gatherings and family photos. Call Afghan on Douglas Road in Mishawaka today.
Yo, doggy, 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 doggy.
All right. Hey, no problem.
Waking up over and over to pee is not okay. But now, you can reduce those nighttime bathroom trips.
Yeah, research does show that CBD will help people who have sleeping issues, but I just haven't done it. Thank you, Anita. Anita said, awesome job.
Taking 3 prostate supplements in one. You can try a full 30
So, no joke, my mom, I don't know if she's told the story yet because I haven't been able to keep up on the chat. Anita, yes, but I haven't been very disciplined on the carnivore diet, and I am trying to be this last 2 weeks here before noise because I'd like to lose a couple of pounds that I gained back. That would be nice. But yes, I have been 60% devoted to it the past month. So I'm definitely getting more protein than I normally do, but I've ate more junk than I should. So, what's that?
Yeah, half hour left.
I know. Woo, down to 30 minutes, baby. Yeah. Crap, what was I going to say?
You were talking about carnivore diet?
What was I going to say before that? Oh, yeah. So my mom was talking to, I think she was talking to a nurse to set up an appointment at Elkhart General, and they knew who I was. So I was like, yeah, it's Elkhart. Elkhart's my town, man. Them's my peeps. Can't go anywhere without somebody recognizing me in Elkhart. Turned on my utilities at my house when I went in there. Manager had to come out. Like, I listen to you all the time. It's like, great, cool. Do I get a discount? Nope. Okay. All right. Yeah, I was hoping to get to, I totally forgot about the parent-teacher conference today. I was hoping to get to Costco today to pick up my meat. So I'm going to have to go home without any meat. I do have a pack of beef jerky, though, that I can eat.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. We're just talking about food, and I'm hungry now. So Perbaco in Elkhart, Bruno's Perbaco, which is the website, brunosperbaco.com. If you like big plate Italian food, hey, look, there's nothing wrong with fancy, smaller portion meals. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you just want to gobble down on good homemade Italian food, family style. You just want to do that. That's where Perbaco's comes in because, again, they have these massive portions, fantastic food. They do catering, and Tuesday, because they're closed today, but tomorrow, Tuesday is half off wood-fired pizzas. Now, I am told, I have not had their pizza yet. I am told they compete for the best pizza in Michiana. Okay? That's what I am told. So, taste test Friday. Joe wants me to bring in a Perbaco's pizza for Friday. I might be able to arrange that. Do you like weird stuff on your pizza, though, or do you like normal stuff?
I like normal stuff.
Okay, like what's normal?
You can't
You're not
say
gonna throw a pineapple on there and call it normal,
you can't
right?
be like best pizza and not be able to put normal stuff on a pizza and be like, we have the best pizza. Like, okay,
And I firmly believe that if you're going to claim best pizza, you have to be able to beat everybody with cheese or pepperoni.
Exactly.
So, and then beyond that is just, that's icing on the cake.
Yeah, that's like, it's our specialty to do this. Like, you can't call it the best
Right,
pizza.
and yeah, nothing wrong with doing the specialty stuff, but you have to be able to do the basics to be able to cover. Now, when I first started reading the Probaco stuff, because they're now a sponsor of the program, I had so many text messages going, the best pizza, you've got to go have it. And knowing who their relatives are, I have no doubt that they make amazing pizza, but I have not had their pizza over at Probaco's yet. So Tuesday is half off wood-fired pizzas. Tomorrow, again, you can visit them online, take a look at their menu at brunosperbaco.com. When you go to Probaco, make sure you tell them that I sent you, please. That way they know that my listeners are listening to me and going over there to go and enjoy that. And then I'll be out there on a regular basis with my family, sometimes with my family, sometimes not. It just depends on the day. And you'll be able to go ahead and say hello to me and come up and say hi and that sort of stuff. I'm totally good with that. Most people know that if I'm out at a restaurant or out somewhere, feel free, please come up and say hi. All that I have ever asked is that if I'm with my family, don't engross me in a political conversation. That's because I don't want to spend a ton of time doing that. I'm with my family. But I totally agree with people saying hi and hello, and people are really good about that. So if you see me at Probaco's, make sure you stop in and say hello. Again, brunosperbaco.com. All right, 574-2595. 95.3. That is 2595-953. More news you're not going to get from the mainstream press. 38 people have been cited for violations in the Clinton email probe. The State Department has completed its internal investigation into former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's use of a private email and found violations by 38 people, some of whom face disciplinary action. The investigation, launched more than 3 years ago, determined that those 38 people were culpable. The heck is wrong with me? Culpable in 91 cases of sending classified information that ended up in Clinton's personal email account. According to a letter sent by Republican Senator Chuck Grassley this week and released on Friday, the 38 are current and former State Department officials, but were not identified by name. Although the report identified violations, it said investigators had found no persuasive evidence of systemic, deliberate mishandling of classified information. How can you have no information and no evidence of systematic, deliberate mishandling of classified information if you have 39 people that you know of, at least 38 were former staff, 39th is Hillary herself. I'm not including her staff, okay, because I don't know if they're included in the 38. How can you have no evidence of systemic and deliberate mishandling classified information if you have 39 people that you have caught doing it? Wouldn't that be systemic? If you have 39 people doing it? If you have one or two, maybe not. But if you have that many people doing it hundreds of times, then yeah, I think you've got a systemic problem with this, right? Isn't that interesting wording on their part? Again, the investigation uncovered 33,000 emails that Clinton turned over for review after her use of private email. Of course, they found 588 total violations, and their new violations are still being discovered as we go forward with this, with the FOIA requests that get released. So 38 people not named Hillary Clinton, and they're saying there's no evidence of any systemic violations, though. Okay, if you say so. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you can watch us. We are live streaming on youtube.com/KC the Host and twitch.tv/KC the Host. Of course, you can listen live at 953mnc.com or with our mobile app. More coming up, 93MNC.
WTRC-FM and HD1.
All right, folks, I will return in just a moment. I got to go grab a refill.
On a busy day at federal court in Boston, several parents changing their pleas in the college admissions cheating scandal. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, today 4 parents and a private tennis coach pleaded guilty. Douglas Hodge sought to get his children into Suffolk County.
Sure thing, ma'am. I'll pass that right on to him.
Targeted USC and Georgetown for her daughter and son. Manuel and Elizabeth Henriquez used fake tennis credentials for their daughter's Georgetown admission and paid for their other children to cheat on entrance exams. All face fraud and money laundering and will be sentenced next year. Also, tennis coach Martin Fox pleaded guilty to racketeering for taking bribes to get kids into 2 schools. The scandal has netted more than 50 indictments. 10 parents have already been sentenced, Lisa.
Thanks, Colonel. Officials at Fort Stewart in Georgia just holding a briefing on a deadly training accident that killed 3 soldiers yesterday. They now say weather was not a factor, but it remains under investigation. A Bradley armored vehicle rolled over. President Trump says House Democrats are only trying to impeach him because they can't beat him in the 2020 election, also suggesting it's not fair to have to focus on what he calls an illegitimate process.
Can you imagine? I have to fight off these lowlifes. At the same time, I'm negotiating these very important things.
Democrats accuse the president of soliciting election interference in a phone call with Ukraine's president. The current U.S. ambassador to Ukraine is scheduled to be the next impeachment witness tomorrow. The National Weather Service just confirming it was an EF3 tornado that hit Dallas last night. Winds up to 140 miles per hour. There's widespread damage and power outages, but no deaths. Governor Greg Abbott issuing a disaster declaration for 16 Texas counties. America is listening to Fox News.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and 95.3MNC.com.
MNC News Time is 5:02. I'm Brooklyn Beatty in the MNC News Center with our top local stories this afternoon. Mishawaka police are advising residents to avoid the intersection of Grape Road and McKinley Avenue after a large tree limb knocked down power lines. Both north and southbound lanes are currently blocked. The area may remain closed.
Oh. Forkity, forkity, fork.
As of now, the recall that Johnson & Johnson has issued is voluntary. They say
More power lines down.
Powder that was sold in the U.S. last year. The amount of asbestos is very, very small, about 0.02%. The companies say they have already initiated a rigorous and thorough investigation into the matter. The company says they are issuing the recall out of an abundance of caution. You can find the lot number on our website.
Next, 95.3 MNC's Heather Starr reporting. And the city of South Bend has entered into a partnership with local businesses to create Commuters Trust. It's a transportation benefit program supported by a $1 million 3-year grant through the Bloomberg Philanthropies Neighbors Challenge. It will provide
All right.
more options to getting to and from work and will test systems designed to resolve transportation issues. The first phase of the multi-year project was launched last month and involved
Yep.
This is powered by Parkwood Auto Spa, home of the buy 5, get 3 free. Find the location near
Found a new, really good news source for local news. I'm going to get us added to their list. Newsbreak.com is really good. I've been using it for 2 days. And I get a lot of local news stories that I would normally miss going through the RSS feeds of papers and stuff. And it's really good. And I can get MNC added to their list of publishers, which I am going to do because we should be a publisher on it. But it's a really good source just because of the way it parses everything. Newsbreak.com. And you can break it down by country, city, state, all of that. But it's been really good. He says size does matter. Kind of funny, considering the tossing story we had earlier. I told you, man. I'm going to hell.
And where memories are made. Unfortunately, accidents can happen. When they do, it can hit close to home, and you'll need someone that can be there for you.
Oh yeah, I forgot I recorded this commercial when I was sick as hell. I'm so stuffed up doing that.
Sounds like insurance to get some treatment in this commercial.
But see, they always give me commercials to record when I'm sick. Like they never, I get liners when I'm healthy. I get 60-second spots when I'm sick as hell. Every single time. I'm so stuffed up in this friggin' commercial. I think I've got a lot of individual podcasts on this episode.
Call today at 574-231-1500. That number
Yes, Perbaco does take reservations. You can go to their website and do it that way.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender.
Oh, Mom says there's a roast. Okay. Oh. Well, it better be cooked and ready for me by the time I get home.
10 and 6.
It's cleared up? Okay. Somebody just a few minutes ago said it was getting through, but it was slow.
The low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a rate shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays low. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICK or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason.
How about that friggin' tornado in Dallas last night? Holy crap. I mean, right friggin' through North Dallas, dude. Tons of buildings collapsed. Roofs gone. Nobody dead. Only 3 people went to the hospital. I mean, just it hit at the right time. Like 9:30 at night or something. Just absolute miracle that nobody got seriously hurt.
From the Final Phase Electric Studios, from the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical.
Here we go.
This is Casey Hendrickson.
On News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. By the way, comedian Ron White has announced he's coming back to Elkhart. I heard that he liked Elkhart a lot, so he's going to come to the Learner, and he's going to be doing that in February. So keep an eye on tickets for that. I'm not saying that we're going to have anything to do with it. I just know that a lot of you like Ron White. I like Ron White too. And I know some people who were close with him when he was here last time. Had some very interesting stories to share about Ron White. So he apparently really likes coming to Michiana, in Elkhart in particular. Remember there was a whole cigar controversy last time because Elkhart had just passed the smoking ban, and of course he smokes on stage. And then they thought about doing the exception just for him. And I was telling everybody who was considering that they were stupid because how dare you? He's not more important than the city of Elkhart. But it was just one of those things. And anyway, they ended up getting that whole thing sorted out. But it was still pretty interesting to see that. Anyway, 574-2595-95.3. That's 2595-953. Do you want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle? And they have 10 dedicated shooting lanes. Rifle and pistol is available. They have rentals there. You can get ammo. You can get targets and accessories and my knives and holsters and all of that stuff. And you get great discounts just by mentioning me. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. Pete Buttigieg may still be in this thing. Now, I told you 2 months ago he should have started going on the attack, okay? And he didn't. I don't know why. He kept playing nice. I don't know what that was about. He finally started going on the attack. He went after Beto in the days leading up to the last debate, and then at the debate, he actually fought. Who knew? Who knew? Pete Buttigieg, he learned how to throw a couple of punches, at least in the short term. And guess what? He's got fundraising coming in, and he is surging in the Iowa polls. Isn't that interesting? Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Buttigieg in Iowa is out of single-digit polling. The RCP average has him tied with Bernie Sanders for third place at 14.3%. The latest poll has him. I think he's still in third, but much closer. Now, here's what we have in Iowa, okay? Biden is at 21, and he's dropping. Elizabeth Warren is at 20.7, and she's dropping. Pete Buttigieg is at 14.3, he's rising. Bernie Sanders is at 14.3, and he's dropping. Kamala Harris is next at 3.3%, which is weird because she moved to Iowa, essentially. Not actually moved there, but her campaign strategy was to bleeping move there. In other words, she was going to be in Iowa all the time. Turns out they're a little sick of her crap, and she's only at 3.3%. I mean, she's basically margin of error, okay? So Pete Buttigieg is actually surging in Iowa. So how is Pete Buttigieg doing in New Hampshire, which comes after Iowa? Not so great. He's at 8.7, which is better than it used to be, but he's still in fourth place. Bernie Sanders is ahead of him by 8 points. So Bernie Sanders at 16.7, Biden's at 24, Warren's at 27.3. If you look at Nevada, Pete's still not even a contender in Nevada. He's not a contender in South Carolina. Now, again, Iowa is where everybody's focused right now, so that would make sense. But let's look at nationally. Nationally, Pete Buttigieg is rising, and he is now up to 6%. So he's still not doing great nationally. But in Iowa, he's got himself some funding after that debate. And in Iowa, he's looking much better. He's an actual contender in Iowa now, where he hasn't been a contender. So that's good news for the Buttigieg camp. And all it took was him to start fighting for once, instead of trying to play the nice guy. And that's what he's been doing. Then there's this article, The Daily Caller. I posted this on Facebook on how CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, gave Pete Buttigieg a list of names of potential hires for the campaign, and Pete basically started hiring people from them. But again, he did get a surge in funding. What is his numbers here? I'm trying to look at and the article has that he's surging in polls and that he's getting some fundraising. I don't have his actual fundraising after the debate, but he's rising in Iowa, which is good news for him. Now, to put this in context, I think Pete Buttigieg at last count like $20 some odd million on hand. Okay, now that's before the debate. Had $20 some odd million on hand. And guess how much Trump has? Over 300 million. Trump has broken several fundraising records. Okay, now this is Trump. This is not even the GOP, which continues to break their own fundraising records. Okay, President Donald Trump is presiding over a money machine and now has the most well-funded re-election campaign in history. According to fundraising numbers released last week, Politico reports that the Trump and Republican National Coalition have raised more than $300 million, and the president alone has $158 million cash on hand to kick off his re-election bid. He dwarfs everybody else. Did you know that Biden, in spite of the fact that he's still leading in the polls, only has $6 to $9 million on hand? Because he spends a ton of money. Did you know that Joe Biden spent almost $1 million on private flights? You know how it's such a ridiculous number. But then here's the thing. They wasted more money by buying carbon credits, which is the biggest environmental scam that you could possibly fathom. Okay? I've been writing about carbon credits since Al Gore first released the idea of carbon credits all those years ago. It's a huge scam. So the Biden campaign is offsetting their exorbitant private flight money with more money by buying carbon credits. And he's just burning through cash. He's got no cash. So Pete Buttigieg raising less money than Biden, but has more money on hand. Meanwhile, Trump is destroying everybody with this. So he's got $158 million cash on hand. They've raised more than $300 million. Let's see. The numbers have Democrats worried, and they should. And at least one strategist told the Washington, D.C.-based news outlet that the resources that he has will be put to work anywhere and everywhere that he feels like he can scare up electoral votes, and Democrats will never catch up. It's just too much money. And yeah. So the DNC can't raise any cash. The DNC is really terrible at it under Perez. However, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee is really good at raising money, and they are raising money, but they're raising tens of millions of dollars, not hundreds of millions of dollars. So right now, things don't look good for the Democrats, but there is a year left, and a lot can happen in a year. It is still way too early, and there's still a lot of people that will not give money until there is a nominee. Okay, so just understand that until the Democrats actually get a nominee, there's a lot of people who are not going to kick in any cash for it. Joel, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Great
What's up?
Show. I just love your show.
Thank you.
I kind of answered my own question while I was sitting there on hold waiting.
Okay.
And I'm just infuriated that anybody in Iowa would even consider a Democrat, since Mayor Pete and all the rest of them are against the Electoral College.
Yeah.
And you get rid of that, and Iowa is nothing. And I don't know how these people don't understand that. And I thought, how can they vote for Mayor Pete? Well, they're all the same. And so I just don't understand how these people can even allow that thought to even occur, because otherwise we're done in.
Well, look, I think that's a very valid point. You also have to factor in his green policies, and some of the farmers have taken Elizabeth Warren to task for the green policies because they've had to explain how like cows and stuff work, because they don't know. I mean, they literally have no idea. But you know, Iowa is like Indiana; they have liberals there, in spite of the fact that it's farm country, and their policies defy the logics of basic food distribution. But it's look how blue South Bend is, and look how close it is to farmland. You know, it's just it boggles the mind. But there are swaths of the population that don't think about it, and they still don't understand how it all works, and they live in an urban area, and so it's not affecting them. They think, even though it is. So yeah, it is pretty interesting, considering he and others are talking about not eating meat and not using straws while he's at their big barbecue, grilling up meat and drinking out of a straw. That famous photo of him and other Democrats doing that while telling everybody else to stop doing it. But I don't know. Maybe there aren't a lot of turtles in Iowa.
I guess it's just amazing to me that these people don't understand what that'll happen if they ever, and they. Trust me, they'll do everything they can to get rid of the Electoral College if they're getting power again. And Iowa will be nothing. Be nothing.
Yeah, and look, you'll notice, though, that the more openly extreme types, other than Bernie Sanders, who just has this weird, likable quality to him, other than him, the extreme types, and I'm talking about the outwardly extreme. Obviously, Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden are more extreme than they let on, but they play the moderate in public. But the more extreme types who are upfront about it, they're polling at 3% or less. So people in Iowa are only looking at the people that they view as potentially being moderate. And even once you start learning about, like you said, the Electoral College stuff, the environmental policy stuff, and how that's going to affect people in Iowa, no Democrat's going to win in Iowa in the general election. It's just purely about, the 500 Democrats that are there right now in the primary. So
agreed. Casey, great show. I love it. I look forward to you every day.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You take care. Bye. Yes, I know there's more than 500 Democrats in Iowa. There's at least 650. We've got more coming up on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Keeping you connected with breaking news.
It says you have another Probaco.
Okay, I'm not going to do that because it's their day off. So it doesn't make any sense that they would have two commercials on their day that they're closed. You know what I do need to do is I need to do a Monterey, because I didn't do Monterey on Friday. So let me do a Monterey. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense that there would be two Probacos on a Monday where they're closed. One, yeah, I get it. But so I will send Chris a message, and if there's supposed to be two, then it'll just shift it to tomorrow, which makes sense anyway, because Tuesday's the big day that we're promoting anyway. So
I threw myself on that.
Oh, okay. Sure.
What else would I be doing?
I don't know. My kid draws on me all the time, and I don't know what the hell she's doing. The amount of cash that Trump has is stupid. Absolutely stupid.
Like personally or in his campaign?
Both. But in his campaign especially. I mean, it is... Did you see that Bill Maher offered Trump cash to resign? Like, Bill Maher's biggest investment doesn't make him any money. Like, I will pay you to... He has so much more money than Bill Maher, it doesn't make any sense to offer him cash. But I'm sure that Bill Maher thinks that he's rich. And he is rich. He's just not Trump rich.
That grows into a full-scale preventative maintenance schedule. Using advanced tools like thermal imaging cameras can help us identify issues that haven't even popped up yet. We even provide 24-hour emergency service. Ask yourself, has my business grown beyond our current resources? Are we pushing our electrical setup too hard and running the risk of shutdowns? Does the lighting in my facility create a safe working environment for my staff? One call does it all.
Gosh, I feel like I'm talking about a lot of crap today. Not like junk crap, but I mean like a lot of things. Yeah.
Let us take the guesswork out of your project and help you sleep easy. Find us on Facebook or visit finalphaseelectric.net.
It's 4th and goal. They need to keep the drive alive. They need the big play. The quarterback looks over the defense through the crowd. He makes eye contact with you. You nod, letting him know that you can get it. Because in the parking lot 2 hours before the game, you raised the team flag you got from Flags International. And somewhere down deep inside, you know that flag helped them win. For your team's flag, go online to flagsinternational.com or visit the castle on McKinley in Osceola. You won't believe all the options available for showing off your loyalty. From impressive tailgate flags.
Good Lord Almighty. Be with you in just a second, folks. I'm still trying to add all the links that I just talked about. Crap. If only I had somebody who worked for me who could do this. They won't give me that person. I just want a slave, Joe. That's so wrong.
Guys, waking up over and over to pee is not okay. But now,
seriously,
reduce those nighttime bathroom
just need somebody to do everything that I want them to do 24 hours a day for no money. That's all I need.
We're talking about less
I think we abolished that.
Less bathroom trips during the
13th Amendment or so. I think it was when that came into
Darn.
The exact year. Not that much of a history nerd off the top of my head.
Strings attached, no obligations, and no commitments to buy. This is a 30-day
Why do you know
supply.
the exact amendment? Because I had really bad friends who would make jokes about abolishment. So I had to look it up. And then I beat the crap out of them when I found out what they were doing.
Dude, we used to get in trouble all the time. One of my best friends in high school, junior high school and high school, was, he was Mexican, and he and I would take turns cracking racist jokes at each other about each other's race. So there was more than one time where the hall monitor would approach us.
Panda poops up to 48 pounds of stool a day?
But I got some really good material from it.
You know what the next thing is after this commercial, Casey? Your reads are moderating. Because we're coming back to this commercial.
Goshen Health is offering a free,
okay.
easy-to-use
The first thing was about panda poop.
screening test to people who
Panda poop.
Yeah. Visit shareastool.com for more information. That's shareastool.com.
A friend of mine tagged me on Facebook today, and some dad 3D printed a stool and put it in the stool sample jar and gave it to their doctor. Called it the ultimate dad joke.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Got to tell you about Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. Authentic Mexican food made from scratch literally every single day. And we had my birthday party over at Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill here on the 3rd. And it was a blast. They were really, really awesome hosts. And we got the party room. They brought out some really great dishes for us to share. And had some drinks, had some fun. So it was just a great place. And it always is a great place. And people were, even people in the restaurant coming back and saying hi. And it's just a phenomenal place for you to get great food, family environment, just a phenomenal, authentic Mexican experience, which is hard to find in Michiana. Let's be perfectly honest. I've told you this before. When we first moved here, it was very difficult finding real Mexican food. It was very difficult. I know that there are places that exist. Not all of them are very convenient, and Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill is extremely convenient. They're located right there on McKinley and Division. It's really easy for you to get to. 507 East McKinley Avenue is the address. If you're looking for catering, you want to host a party there, you just want to go have some drinks after work, they have specials every single day. Drink and food specials literally every day. And their catering is phenomenal. We have had Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill cater several MNC events. They usually cater our radiothons, and it's always amazing. People always rave about the food. So go to MontereyMexican.com, take a look at all the information, join their VIP club where you can get special deals that are not available everywhere else. Follow them on Facebook. You get special deals there also. And like I said, they've got deals every single day. My wife was just telling me that we have to get my mom, who's visiting from out of town, into Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill for breakfast, because the breakfast is ungodly good. It is just phenomenal. Best Mexican and American traditional dishes that you can get for breakfast. And let's face it, their coffee is phenomenal. Go to MontereyMexican.com for more information. And when you go to Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill, let them know that I sent you. All right, 574-2595-953. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. South Bend schools facing some interesting decisions and possibilities coming up in the near future. Of course, we are now learning that there is a continuing exodus of students who are leaving South Bend School Corporation. Turns out that parents, given the choice of putting their kids in South Bend schools or other schools, tend to choose the other schools. Of course, we knew that. It's just getting worse. With the budget projecting a loss of nearly $17 million. And by the way, that's not $17 million in the hole. It just means they're making $17 million less than they were. And the reason for that is primarily that hundreds of students are no longer going to go to school there anymore. I went over their budgets with everybody last week. They will not have a shortfall, okay? It's imperative that you understand that. But South Bend school leaders say drastic adjustments will have to be made across the district, including closing schools and asking city residents to approve additional tax support. I told you it was coming. There's that referendum stuff. They don't need it, okay? The reason that they have $17 million less coming is because people are not going to school there. You do not get paid for work you don't do. Everybody understands this whole concept outside of public education. You don't get paid for crap you don't do. It's really that simple, right? If you're a carpenter, your clients are not going to pay you if you don't actually build the deck. So if you don't educate a child, you're not going to get the tax money that pays for the child that you're not educating. Really a simple thing. But of course, they spin this as we're losing $17 million and it's all because of house taxes. No, it's not. That is a lie. That is a fundamental lie. Now, closing schools, guess what? That's a possibility. If you've got a bunch of empty schools where nobody goes to school there anymore because everybody's pulling their kids out, yeah, there's a good chance you're going to have to close some schools down or merge some schools together, which is an inconvenience to parents who have to travel farther to get their kid to school. It's an issue with busing, which already sucks in South Bend anyway. So yeah, there's some issues there. But we went over their budget. They are not going to lose money. They are still projected to come out under budget, okay? But they're telling you that they're losing $17 million and it's all because of the property tax caps. It isn't. Just like it isn't in Elkhart Community Schools either. But they tried to make that case to you because they want more money. So you have to ask yourself, why do you want, not you, have to ask yourself, why do they want money for doing work that they're not doing? Because that's ultimately what they're saying. Yeah, we're losing $17 million, but they have hundreds of less students who are going there. Now, there's some other things that were a factor in all of that we went over last week as well. But again, if you have, here's the thing. South School Board President John Anella later said buildings have to be closed. So the K through 12 buildings were built for 23 to 24,000 students. Guess how many they have enrolled? 16,000. Yeah, you're going to have to close some buildings down. Sell them off. You don't need them. It's that simple. Now, again, for the parents who are going to be inconvenienced about having to get their kid to a school farther away, I feel for you. I really do. And it's not your fault that that is happening. But if you have a school system that is built to handle 23 to 24,000 students, but you only have 16,000 students, there's going to be a lot of empty space in your schools. And the reason there's a lot of empty space is not because people are leaving the city of South Bend. I mean, it's relatively stagnant population, although it did lose population a year ago, slightly. But there's not a mass exodus of people moving out of South Bend. There's just a mass exodus of parents who don't want their kids educated by the South Bend school system. because it doesn't have a good reputation. And a lot of that reputation, I realize, is not going to be on the teachers and faculty. Okay? I understand that a lot of these schools are in not so great areas where parents are not involved and kids don't really care about education, and the community itself surrounding that school doesn't value education. I realize that, but that does not change the fact that they have to be good stewards of taxpayer money. And if you have 16,000 students enrolled in a system that is designed for 23 to 24,000, you don't get $17 million to make up for work that you're not doing just so you can keep empty buildings open. That's silly. And that you can continue to have teachers who have no students to teach on staff. Especially when the old Tennessee study, which was done in the 60s, has been completely debunked and proven wrong about student class volume. You don't need to have that many teachers teaching the students in South Bend. Now, there will be, in certain circumstances, it's always better to have a lower student-to-teacher ratio when you are in elementary school. But as you get into junior high and high school, it becomes less and less important, according to the research, which has been repeated over and over and peer-reviewed for a couple of decades now, disproving the old Tennessee study. Okay? You don't need to have these small numbers, which means you can go, because now South Bend teachers are out there telling everybody ideas on how they can raise their pay and all of that. And I'm all for good teachers getting more pay. Okay? I'm all for that. But one of the most effective ways to raise teacher pay is to get rid of all of the teachers you don't need. Okay, so you heartless scum you. I know. But if you have a school system designed for 23 to 24,000 students, but you only have 16,000 students enrolled, you better build the system for 16,000 students, and that's going to mean staff reductions. Not just closing buildings, but it's going to mean staff reductions, and it's going to mean that you're going to be able to save that money now. But this idea that, oh, we're losing $17 million. They're not. They're just getting $17 million less because they're not doing that $17 million worth of work now because the students are gone. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Last read of the night is Michiana Family.
Michiana Family Insurance, foos! But they make this crap sound like, oh my gosh, property tax caps are causing us to lose $17 million. When in fact, they're not losing $17 million. And they're even coming in under budget. Their educational budget they're coming in under, and their operational budget they're coming in under. They have money left over every single year. That means they're doing good with the money that they have, but they're pissed that they have to do good with the money that they have because they want nice coffee makers in the teacher's lounge. To be perfectly honest, that's what it's about. And the reason I say that, every time I say that, people are like, how dare you? That's not true. The reason I do that is I covered a story once where several teachers were fired, and they were fired because the school said that they didn't have the budget to keep them. And then what did they do? They got a $50,000 espresso machine that they put in the teacher's lounge, which could have been the salary for a teacher and a quarter. So they could have kept some of those teachers, but then they spent the money on an espresso machine. It literally happens. But I don't want to move and I still want to be a teacher. Sorry. You are in a sucky city for education. That stinks. Casey, Washington isn't a choice, meaning the school. That's a fair point. El Amigo Pepe in Niles is awesome, authentic Mexican food by Frank. I've never heard of it. Never heard of it. It's like Goshen's got some places, you know, Elkhart, places where you have a significant Hispanic population, you're going to run into good food. But when we first got here, having a convenient place that is near, you know, major thoroughfares, there wasn't. Salsas is good. I enjoy Salsas, but Monterey is just a more family-friendly environment, and they've got the breakfast that is just to die for. Absolutely phenomenal. Their coffee is amazing.
Not as windy, but still breezy into Tuesday. Partly cloudy to mostly clear overnight. Will settle into mid-40s.
Hey! What's up, Tracy? I didn't even know Tracy was back on Twitch. I kept checking Twitch, and then I didn't see Tracy, and didn't see Tracy, and didn't see Tracy, and then she snuck in on me. Sorry. Todd, I haven't been very disciplined on carnivore the past month or so, but I'm trying to be on these last 2 weeks before noise. Trying to be.
We took the sign down out front. Are we sold out? Or is it back up?
I don't know. It might have been because of the wind. I hadn't heard anything.
The person would probably tell us isn't here.
That is true. I was hoping there'd be a Pepe joke in there, Alex. That's funny. Is there a logo green frog by any chance? Huh? Pepe, the meme?
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't it be a Loco Verde? Loco Verde, whatever frog is in Spanish.
You know what he's trying to say.
I do. I do.
Don't ruin the joke. Don't be like South Bend and ruin people's education, okay? Let us just have fun.
You can do both.
We talked about tossing a little person out of a house today, Joe. Let us have fun. It's Monday. Had a lot of Spectre G's going out lately. It's almost holiday time. Jaw. Okay.
Long break.
I know, this is our brutal one.
Well, the actual commercials are 6 minutes.
Yeah, I went a little bit late, so.
I'm giving Jeff's basement renovations.
This one's on me.
Jeff asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like, why? What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then he's like, you can trust me with the job. And I'm all like, trust?
And while Progressive can save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto.
Casey, just a clarification for some of us opposed to the drag strip expansion. We have no problem with the current drag strip and noise, just the unknown activity that may or could double the noise and hours. We all agree the drag strip has been positive for Elkhart County. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate the email. But again, my official position stands. Don't buy next to commercial property unless you expect expansion. And it's just how it is.
The answers to your health problems feel the same way. I'm Dr. Don Warren, and at Warren Chiropractic in Osceola, we help people.
But I do appreciate the polite email about it. That was nice.
You can feel better again.
I wasn't so friendly.
Chiropractic, we have all the pieces. Acupuncture, massage therapy, decompression, physical therapy, exercise, and weight loss programs. All you need get results and put all your pieces together again. When you're suffering from headaches, disc problems, sciatica, back or neck pain,
Casey, my parents are avoiding the South Bend and Elkhart schools for a variety of reasons, but let's be frank and admit that one of them in many cases is racism! Mm-hmm.
Messaging getting ready to be applied. Please do not text and drive.
Yeah.
And now for an important
No.
Do you or does someone you know sweat the bed? Do you ever wake
Here's the
up
thing.
feeling like you've been sleeping on a
If the bad schools were full of white kids, I think they would still avoid them.
Plus, it's just
It's
but it's not
the quality of student body that is there. It is pure coincidence that a lot of the bad schools tend to be of predominant minority student body. But if it were the other way around, and in many communities it is, they would still avoid them.
Risk-free for 100 nights and never sweat the bed again. And for a limited time, pick a free Purple product with your mattress purchase.
I have lived in communities where predominantly white schools were bad schools, and trust me, parents still avoid them like the plague.
Trial to 84888. That's TRIAL to 84888.
From the Final Phase Electric Studios, from the first step to the final phase,
Commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. I just got a very polite email from somebody who still opposes the Dragway's expansion. And I wanted to let you know that I appreciate the polite email and appreciate your points in your opposition. I just happen to fundamentally disagree with you, but I appreciate that you were nicer than I was in my assessment of those opposed earlier. Now, the reason I bring this up is because a lot of you, as the expansion of the Osceola Dragway happens, and for those of you in other parts of the community who might be dealing with other issues that affect the potential insurance levels of your homeowner's insurance, or maybe even your renter's insurance, may want to be looking at getting some additional quotes. In fact, I got a call today from an old insurance company that I had asked a quote for, trying to drum up my business, and I had to let them know that Michiana Family Insurance is where I was doing my insurance now for that particular product. And I wanted to recommend Michiana Family Insurance to all of you. Here's the deal. If you go to Michiana Family Insurance and you give them a call, you're not going to be put on a computerized system and then routed to India somewhere. Somebody in that office is going to pick up, and they're going to be able to work with you. They're going to ask you specific questions on what type of coverage you need and what type of coverage you want, and really what you're trying to achieve with your insurance coverage. It seems like it's a kind of a throwaway question, but it's actually very critical because most people just buy whatever package is thrown in front of them, and it may not provide the best coverage for you or your family or your business or your automobile. But if you have somebody there you can talk with and go over everything, who lives in this community, knows the issues of this community, you're going to get a better rate and you're going to get better coverage for when things go bad. Knock on wood, I hope they don't, but let's be honest, they go bad frequently, and you want your insurance company to have your back. That's what Michiana Family Insurance provides for you, and that's why I choose to use them for some of my insurance products. Definitely go to MichianaFamilyInsurance.com. They've got a couple of locations. Find the one nearest you, whether it's South Bend or Elkhart, and you can talk to them about all sorts of coverage from home insurance, life insurance, commercial insurance, and they do a lot of those things, okay? So definitely check them out. Obviously, auto insurance, I mentioned that earlier, just in case you missed it. Go to MichianaFamilyInsurance.com. You can also give them a call at 231-1500. That's 231-1500, but this is the critical portion of this. You have to tell them that I sent you, okay? Michiana Family Insurance, 231-1500. Get your quotes today. Tell them that Casey Hendrickson sent you. Got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
C. Hendrickson.
That wasn't an entire segment that was a commercial read. That was an entire segment informing people about insurance. It was really a PSA.
Regularly for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, just call the Fried Table to reserve tables for your
your home comfort experts, heating specialists, 5-day forecast.
A few breezy days this week, but some nice weather again for the coming weekend. 54, mostly cloudy on Tuesday, and breezy. We'll see gusts up to about 35 miles per hour. Calming and clearing into Wednesday, a low of 38, warming into the upper 50s with sunshine by the afternoon. Breezy again Thursday, cloud, maybe a shower, and a high of 52. Partly cloudy on Friday, high of 48, and we may have our first freeze Friday night. Saturday's fair, sunshine, and a high of 54. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Coon.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this toy monkey, which will bang its cymbals when the right resume appears. Okay, there is no monkey.
I said there is no monkey.
But skills tests, that's for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free upgrade on your first.
The world's first, 20-hour flight. An airline completed a record-breaking passenger trip. Screw that. Put me on a damn airplane for 20 hours? No, thank you. Did I go to the HH? No, I did not. Bree got sick, so she's dealing with a real bad cold and cough right now. So we didn't get over to the haunted house, Tracy, but we're going to shoot for next weekend. So everything keeps getting pushed back, but hopefully we will be able to get there. She's super stoked and she's very excited about it. We did take her to the Halloween store to get some decorations and costumes and stuff, and she went through. They had like a little haunted house set up inside of it. She went through it. She really enjoyed it. So hopefully we'll be able to get out there, but no, she just ultimately didn't feel very good. We couldn't go Saturday, and Sunday she's blowing her nose. She's got an ear thing going on, coughing all the time. I'm like, let's just keep her in.
No problem. Schedule a test drive at any time. We're happy to help in person at any point. The fast track is only at lockmoney.com. Shop new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, GMC, Buick, Chevy, and Ford models. Plus all makes and models of pre-owned vehicles for every budget.
Speaking of funny drink and food names, there was a restaurant, a Japanese restaurant in Las Vegas that had X-rated names for all of their food. It was amazing. We took a picture of the menu. It still shows up in my memories every now and then. And the food was amazing over there, too. It was phenomenal food. But all of their stuff was named like pornographic names. It was great. You can get away with that stuff in Vegas, though. Here, I'm not so sure.
We can all prosper. On November 5th, let's not have another repeat. Vote for me, Sean Haas for mayor. Paid for by the committee to elect Sean Haas for mayor.
We're your home for the Sean Hannity Show. Weeknight 6 on News Talk 95.3 Miscellaneous News Channel.
Boink.
Breaking news and weather.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. What is today, the 21st? Man, you are running out of time to get your tickets to Noise. 95.3 MNC and Final Phase Electric officially kicking off the countdown to the 2020 presidential election, where Pete Buttigieg is officially a contender in Iowa. Nowhere else yet, but in Iowa, he's officially a contender now, or he hasn't been. So again, the 4th annual Noise is going to be happening Saturday, November 2nd at Center 615 in Elkhart. Special guest this year, our 95.3 MNC and Fox News host and best-selling author Brian Kilmeade, and townhall.com editor, Fox News contributor, and also a best-selling author, Katie Pavlich, is going to be with us. General admission tickets are on sale now for just $40. Each attendee will also get a copy of Brian's brand new book, Sam Houston. Now, that is a pre-release copy. You will get that before the general public can even buy it. Tickets are available now at 953mnc.com, or you can come into the MNC studios at 237 West Edison Road in Mishawaka during normal business hours and when we don't have a power outage. Again, that is Saturday, November 2nd, presented by Final Phase Electric and 95.3 MNC. It is going to be a blast. We're going to have a lot more stuff to do than we did previous years. It really has grown this year. Plus, we got 2 amazing guests. I will, of course, be on stage. It's going to be just a good time. And if you haven't been to a Noise event, you have to go. If you have been to a Noise event, you definitely need to go because you know how good it is. Plus, it's going to be expanded this year. And Katie Pavlich being her first year with us, that is also a great addition as well. Again, go to 953mnc.com. Get your tickets for $40. And again, group rates for 10 or more people are available where you can save yourself some ducats that way. Thank you so much for listening and watching. For those of you online, it is now time for the O'Reilly Update with Bill O'Reilly.
Did I say anything of topic in the last half hour of the program today?
No. After the ad read,
yeah,
I just stopped recording. So.
Good. Nice. My God. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as always, it is a pleasure to speak at you. I have a parent-teacher conference to get to, so I'm going to cut out super fast and say goodbye right now. But I wanted you all to know that I thank you very much. Be safe getting home. Stay safe in the weather. Hopefully everybody's power gets restored.